And we're live. Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it because, like I say, this game can run a bit long, and I want to make sure we get all of our chapters of the story in. So I need to send you the Google Drive link. I think some of you have it, but there is a there's a spreadsheet in there that has all of the character information, and there's some briefs on the rules, and there's also a PDF that shows sort of what the characters are about. And as I live and breathe, I cannot find. There we go. I found the link. Okay, here we go. Copy link. I'm going to put it in the chat. Oh, you guys have already been chatting. All right, there you go. That's the drive. So, and we'll look at that in a minute. Actually, I think we're going to start with the spreadsheet. If you want to open that up, there are a series of tabs, and we're going to start with the setting and conflicts tab. The first thing we want to do is establish what themes we want in the story. These can be literary themes like fall from grace, or lost love or something like that. But it can also be specific. These are the kinds of experiences that you want to have. Car chases. I want a car chase, or it can be, I really want to play in Alaska. It could be, anything. It's what experience do you want? Knowing that the framework is literary, and knowing that we're going to play a Fargo situation. What themes do you want? So the way this works is you just go ahead and write down 1 to 3 themes, and try not to write over each other. I don't know how to control that, so just look at where the colored boxes are and don't type there, and just do 1 to 3, and they can be anything. And what we're going to do is we're going to, as a team, vote on them, and we'll just decide between all of us what themes we want. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so those that are watching can see what we're doing. There we go. Oh, I guess I need to I have 2 screens going on, so I'm confusing myself. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and present to everyone so you can all see what's going on. And as the novelist, I also get to put in some ideas.
Do we just write 1? Is that
as many as 3?
Okay.
So, like, in the conceit of this game, we are the characters acting up as you're trying to write a novel?
You are the characters in the novel, yeah. The novel is really a framework. It's a not framework. I keep on using that word. It's a trapping. We are going to be exploring literary themes, so it's going to be things like character relationships, motivations, and the conflict that gets in the way of those motivations. That's what the game is about. We're doing some pretty high level themes, so that's fairly interesting. What about if anybody has specific ideas too? You'll see that on the setting conflicts, those are, I already established since we're using Fargo, those are the setting conflicts. Those will always be there, no matter what chapter in the novel we're playing. The other conflicts will come out of our themes, but themes don't have to be conflicts.
So themes can be anything from like imagery, like recurring imagery, or like anything, right? Or like setting. Okay. Yeah.
And think of literary themes too. Like if it's something like I want to use a lot of I want to use some metaphors. So I want there to be a maple leaf that appears periodically throughout the story, right? As a metaphor for something. Terrible example, but you get the idea. You can get as intellectual or as specific as you like. And if you only have one, you only have one. That's fine. But no more than 3, because then we'll be here all day.
I think the problem is trying to narrow it down to 3.
Yeah.
I've got my 3 in.
I'm going to put in a couple. Let's see.
Oh, Gucci.
I did my 2.
I'm trying to find a way to phrase this, but it's like, when oh, I know how to phrase this.
Tyler, I like yours. They're very Shakespearean.
I'm having a hard time putting it into. I don't know if this is a good one. So I was thinking, like, we've got a lot of like feeling stuff going on here. So it's like, if it's winter, kind of like water representing or being a metaphor for like how those feelings feel. So it's like this snow, and it's like you're feeling cold and icy, and like sort of maybe more. I don't know. I feel like no, I'm gonna hold back from that one actually. Now that I've talked it out loud.
It's fine. Also think about like lycanthropy, which I brought up in a game yesterday because I'm feeling kind of cheeky. There can be something supernatural in there. There can be something magical in there. The only criteria for great American novel is that if it's literary, meaning that there's a high quality of fiction, that we're focused on characters and motivations, not on plot. And that it's realistic. That doesn't mean that we can't have magic. That just means it needs to be approached realistically.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how ironic are we being about the great American novel?
Oh, that's up to the table. The great American novel is a trapping, a way of thinking about the game.
Okay.
So if you want to play to that on a meta level, please have fun.
Okay.
I would constrain your thinking to the movie Fargo, since you haven't seen it, more of like a murder, a character-driven murder mystery.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, like that Netflix movie that just came out. It's called like something to the dark or something. The Dark.
Yes, I know what you mean. I think it's called Dark.
Is it just called Dark?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but yeah, that's the Nordic noir flavor.
That film is creepy as fuck.
Oh no, we have an English lit guy in here.
I was an English major, but but I can't remember anything about English at all right now. So
was I, actually.
But we have a good mix of things. Unless somebody
in fairness, though, I dropped out, so I'm not a full English major.
Hey, once an English lit major, always an English lit major? Question mark.
True,
Okay.
true. My soul is tainted by English lit.
The next step at this point is for us to vote. There is no process here. You literally check the ones you like, as many as they may be, and then through all of the check marks, we'll figure out which themes we're going to pick. What is grease?
Grease is like any kind of grease. Can be motor grease, can be animal grease. I don't know. It seems very cold weather place to have grease.
Kind of as a recurring theme type, I see.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of symbolism.
You can vote for your own, but consider voting for someone else's first and then moving on to your own, just to open your mind a bit.
I have a question about one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What does secret horror like imply?
My feeling on that was that there's something supernatural and horrible out there, but it's unknown what it is.
I picture kind of like sort of hot fuzz, where it's like that kind of the horror on that is that like all the towns, I don't know, and there's like a cult kind of thing, or
Sure, it could be that. Yeah.
I guess we'll play to find out what that is.
Yeah. Right.
And how many votes did you say we should put in?
As many as you like.
Oh.
Oh, I'm trying to click on the Google Hangouts and not in the spreadsheet. Good grief. Like, why isn't this working? I always like nihilism.
I'm so sorry. So we vote for 3 or just like
As
click
many-
away?
Click away as many as you like.
Go ham.
And then
Okay.
we're going to pick the ones that have the most check marks. And we can already start seeing a trend. This is the fun part because at the table this happens over an index card, and you can start seeing it right away what the table as an organism is after. And if they're all at 5 checks, we have a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Are we good?
I forgot which ones I voted for.
Ain't nobody else gonna vote for Greece? Come on, guys.
Is that a sympathy vote? Because
Okay, well, I appreciate that one.
sorry, I got it. All right, so we have an issue here in which there were a lot of themes that everybody voted the same amount on, which can complicate the story. So what we want to try to do is distill those into a single theme. I think secret horror probably stands out. Humanity versus nature, hostility of nature, sexual tension, unrequited love, petty local politics. I mean, we have a lot of things that we all want. So we're going to have to start doing some tiebreakers. Let's start with secret horror because we know that has a majority vote. And now we're going to each cast on the ones that have 3 check marks. We're going to each cast one vote, and then we'll try to break some of these ties. So you have to choose. Did everybody vote? Looks like it. So we have petty local politics.
I wasn't sure yet if we were voting or
Yep.
or if I was waiting for something to be set up.
Yeah, go ahead and take your last vote. Why don't we do sexual tension and unrequited love as the same theme? Oops. Boy, look at that. And it's a lot of things, but do we want to add self-destruction?
Yes, please. If we can't have nihilism, I'll take self-destruction.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so these are our themes. Sometimes, as I've played this, we don't hit all of the themes, but we really want to try to incorporate these into the story just as a forefront. This is what we're after as a group. We want the novel to feel like this. It's my job as the novelist to insert moments in the story that yield these themes. So if I find that we're not getting enough petty local politics, it's my job to introduce that. But it's also your job as players to keep these in mind as we go. Okay, I'm going to turn off the screen share now so I can see you. Where is my screen share? Where is everything on my computer? Okay, here we go. Whew, okay, back. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is discuss lacunae. This is a literary term that means Tyler. Oh, that's right. You didn't finish.
Tyler is a literary term. Yes, I agree.
Pardon?
I was just playing with you because you talked about going about their literary background.
Oh, not me. I'm a history and theater major. I just mimic other people's words.
So what lacunae means is actually it's a literary term that means omission. So it's used in throughout history as being like maybe there's some pages of the manuscript that were missing, or maybe the author intentionally left it blank, or things like that. It's really just a cheap way of saying lines and veils. At this point, we're going to put into the spreadsheet things in the story that we do not want represented. And it can be something like, for example, I always put in sexual violence. I don't want any of that. I don't want to play it. I don't even want to veil it. Not in there. So I'll put in the spreadsheet, sexual violence is a hard line. That's a hard lacune. Now, if you want something like physical intimacy, that could be done off screen. You would put that in parentheses, which means it's okay if it's in the story. We're just not going to play it out. But it doesn't have to be that. I would think about triggers, but it's not only about triggers. Like, I don't want any gray aliens and UFOs. This is just not that tone I'm after, right? And it's impossible at this point really to decide what those kinds of things are. This is why it's an organic document. So at any point in the game, you can add a lacune. You know, I don't want the Blues Brothers. You know, can we stop with that? So that's what this part of the process is for. So go ahead and take a moment and fill out what your lacunae are if you have them. And beyond that, just keep an eye on this because you can add to it as we go. You can put in themes and tone, like I don't want this to be satirical or funny. I want this to be serious, or vice versa. And that's it. That's what we're doing here. So go ahead and take a moment to do that. Now that I have so many windows open, here we go. I already blurted out mine. Normally I play with an X card. Since we don't have that, just do this. If you are triggered by something that you don't want to play out, we don't have to explain it. We'll just stop, omit it, and move on. And again, that doesn't have to be something triggering. It could be like, no, Chris, can you not bring in, you know, Dan Aykroyd? We really want to keep this on the level, right? Or whatever. I have a big problem with orange juice after brushing teeth. That's not. Are we good on lacunae? Yeah. Okay, what's next? Who wrote this game? I forget. We have our lacunae, we have our themes, we have our period, we set our setting. Next are archetypes. Okay, the fun stuff. In the Google Drive, you will find a, I would look at the PDF because it shows a picture and it's kind of nice, although you'll be using the spreadsheet because of all the scores, the stats and things. But these are the archetypes that you'll be playing. You can think of them as literary archetypes, or you can think them as sort of characters. But you're going to use this as a template to create your character. This is really kind of meta. You're going to have to just make a lot of unilateral decisions about your character, knowing the setting and the setting conflicts. We know we're dealing with murder. We know that we're somewhere cold. It's rural and isolated, and yeah, and it's winter. So those are the things we know. So given that, who do you want to play? And a lot of these are sort of self-explanatory. They're designed to be. You kind of know what the sacrificial innocent is. You know, that's the character that always has to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Or you might know who the cunning rascal is. These are all literary tropes. In fact, I'm going to share my screen again so I can show. I'm just going to scroll. So there's the courageous youth. You know, these are your, I think the example I used in here was from The Catcher in the Rye. This is the person that, you know, has no idea there's a thing like called mortality, you know, and or consequences. There's the cunning rascal. This is your Tom Sawyer, you know, the honorable.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like the stats, what do they, what do you do with them? For example, like instinct, personality, morality.
So these, it's kind of structured like, well, it's a lot structured like Powered by the Apocalypse, if you've played those games. So these are going to be added to a 2d6 roll with a success at 7+. And you'll see mechanically there is an overview to the right of what the move outcomes are. The moves are way stripped down. Because moves in this game are about your character's motivations and less about what it is specifically your character's doing. So if you want to, let's say you slap somebody in the face, if you were doing that because you were defending yourself, I would call that an instinct roll. But if you were doing that to get somebody's attention, I would call that a personality roll. Or if you were doing that to make a moral stand, that would be a morality roll. So it doesn't determine whether or not you're successful in the action. It determines whether or not you were successful in you know, implementing your motivation and succeeding in what you wanted to do. That makes sense?
Okay.
So instinct, personality, and morality are structured a lot like the ego, superego, you know, about that psychology stuff. Instinct is you're not thinking about it, you just do it. And the kinds of moves are like satiate. For example, I really need this, and I'm going to do it because I'm scared. That would be an example of an instinct roll. Personality, though, is more like what you know, your intellect or your knowledge or your frame of reference with yourself. Morality is your connection with other people in society.
I don't know what people are thinking, but I'm kind of digging, since local politics is a thing, like either someone connected like to the police force who just like, you know, the sort of like lovable do-gooder who just like wants to like see things done well and like really wants to do their job good, whether they're like an outsider who's come in recently or like have grown up here and or like a kind of loyal guardian or honorable guardian or loyal lieutenant type. And alternatively, I'm also really happy being like someone on the local council or in local government who like has a lot of burden of responsibility on their shoulders to see that like peace is kept and to like, you know, maybe like get on, maybe win the election next year actually, and you know, gather some popularity.
Or you could do both. I mean, because sheriffs are elected positions. So
oh, true. What? I can have both of my things. That's the kind of character I'm filling out. I don't know about anyone else.
Oops.
I was also definitely looking at loyal lieutenant because what I'm about.
Are we gonna be cop buddies who are secretly in love?
Cop buddies who are secretly in love.
Yes. So I'm here for all of that. Oh, we're gonna be so cute. It's gonna be really sad.
So you're thinking loyal lieutenant, and what were you thinking, Lauren?
I guess maybe like an honorable guardian then maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To get an idea too of what the trappings of these archetypes are, you'll see the personality traits below, and you'll also see. This is probably a good idea to talk about this right now. The character arc. In the Great American Novel, we don't have armor class and hit points. We have character arc. And what that means is at any point in the story, you might be rising or falling as a character. And there are mechanical consequences to that. If you're rising, that means you're going to have an arc feature that you can do that you can't do when you're falling, and vice versa. That also means you're limited to certain moves. You can always do flat moves, but if you wanted to say punch a guy, unless it's in self-defense, that's going to be a falling move. So you need to be falling to be able to do that. Now you can spend a plot point and choose to fall at that point and say, okay, no, this is the moment my character breaks and I'm punching that guy. And that means you're not falling and not rising. So there's no judgment on that. It just means you have different access to different things, and you have personality traits that'll come out. So like the Honorable Guardian, when they're rising, they might present themselves as being brave, but when they're falling, they might present themselves as being angry. But those are different traits for different archetypes. A rising Honorable Guardian. If you're protecting somebody, you get an extra die when you're rising.
Oh.
But when you're falling, you only get one die if you are making a move in the presence of an antagonist.
Where does it say stuff like that?
Underneath the arc, there's 2 special features that you have.
Sorry, I don't see.
You see the arrows at the top?
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
There's a rising and a falling feature. So if that helps you decide what characters you want to play, because that's going to frame how you play the character.
I generally always play such nasty characters. I really want to play someone nice and sweet. So I'm looking maybe naive outsider, maybe.
I like the idea that we're all just like bumbling naive people who are like, oh gosh, geez, like this murder sure is a problem.
Oh my god, this is getting more Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
When I think Midwest murder stuff, I definitely think, oh golly gosh, geez. And
yeah, right.
Okay, then I'll be the soldier dude, the regretful soldier. Yeah.
Okay. That can be metaphorical. That can be literal.
Someone's got to be the self-destructive one.
All right, so we have a naive outsider. I really like that picture. Like, it's going to be hard for me to not see that in my head. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm thinking of playing a female, so it probably won't apply.
Okay. What are you thinking, Ryan?
Oh, I'm totally playing Loyal Lieutenant.
Loyal Lieutenant. Okay, so I guess we have everybody picked then. All right, so go ahead and go back to the spreadsheet and find your tab. I would like you to, if you could, let me know if you can't. You should be able to do this. I'd like you to take your tab and drag it over to the front of the line, just so that everybody's easy to get to. And when you have a character name, I'd like you to put that in the tab, so I'll know what to call you. And then we'll quickly go through and define your characters. I'll have you know that I built these sheets specifically for Gauntlet. I did this for you.
Well, they're
I appreciate
amazing.
your effort.
I spent
Nice.
They're right nice.
They're very professional.
So we should rename the tabs? Is that what you meant, or no?
Yeah,
just put
so
our names in there.
Right. So
okay.
I can quickly see. Actually, if you didn't put your real names in parentheses, so I know who's who.
Where should I be putting my name in this tab?
Where it says Great American Novel, a role-playing game by Christopher
Oh,
Gray.
okay. I thought that was just a title box.
It is, but I didn't put a place for names, so you can overwrite that. Who made these sheets? Okay. So
I have another question.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No problem.
How white is this town?
That is a question for the table. I will not answer that.
Have we decided kind of where we want it? I mean, are we going to be in Fargo, North Dakota, or?
Yeah, that is the setup. If we want to, we can change it.
If we're, playing authentic, it's pretty darn white, but that doesn't mean it has to be particularly biased or a particularly prejudiced town, I wouldn't think, and I wouldn't think that's a good idea to play. But again, that's up to folks.
And my thinking is like we haven't put themes regarding like racism on there, so like I kind of see it kind of being like the good society thing where I mean I'm happy with like just a town of folks of whatever variety of we want to see in this town, but then like I feel like it would be off tone to I don't know what people think.
I mean, we can set it up in a situation where there's fracking or a lot of big energy, and there's all kinds of people from all over the country.
Yeah, totes.
And just deal with it that way. I definitely don't want racism in this, just because it's not the point of this particular scenario. The Great American Novel can be used to deal with issues like that, but they should be front and center, and probably not a con game.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm down for Fargo, but not so white.
Yeah.
People.
Right.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
So the first thing that you're going to do is determine your stats. There are 3 arrays, which are based upon a sort of sub-archetype of this archetype. So like a loyal lieutenant, you can be a beloved partner, or you could be the dutiful right hand. And these stats then you just plug into the boxes there. Because of the way Google Sheets work, it's going to show you an error, but it has to be because we need the plus and the minus in there, so you know if you're adding or subtracting to the roll. So just ignore it. But it's a drop down, so you can pick the number that you want. And just give me a thumbs up after you're done with that. And I'm going to sit here and drink coffee. This is great television.
I lied. I'm definitely feeling more of the stable, like hard on the outside, soft and affectionate on the inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I feel like I'm cheating because I'm just going with beloved partner because there's dual meanings there.
I don't think we're going to have trouble hitting our themes. Oh, I wasn't looking. Did we have any thumbs ups? All right. I had one job and I wasn't doing it.
I mean, we didn't have dereliction of duty as a theme, but you do you.
It could be an output of one of the themes. Self-destruction.
That was way harder to decide than I thought it would be.
Tricky that way, isn't it?
Because I like the stat array for country bumpkin, but I don't want to play this person as a country bumpkin.
Yeah, yeah, that design's on purpose. It's because you're trying to. It means a certain thing. It's not just a number. Because you might have the same set array, different character archetypes, so they mean different things.
Gotcha.
The next step is personality. You get 1 key trait. This is what you are generally. I've been using loyal lieutenant as an example. I'll go to regretful soldier here. So you might be just in a normal kind of way. You're just sort of uneasy. You know, you're a little awkward, but that's just where you are normal. But when rising, you might have an additional trait. So calming. But when you're falling, you'll have a different trait, like depressed. And these are just keys for you to use as a player to know how to play the character in certain states. Now, you're always going to have your key trait, but your falling and rising might change. I know it's hard to pick these because you're like, oh, I want all of them, but you have to pick one.
Sorry, where's the sub? The thing that's like a secondary trait or something, or not? Yeah.
So the personality section underneath the stats, there's a column for key trait, 1 for when rising and 1 for when falling, and you just pick 1 from each column.
Okay, and what? Okay, sorry, I might have been spending all this time just now searching for Hindi names.
Oh. And so give me a thumbs up when you have your personality figured out. You don't have to hold it there. Your arm's going to get tired. I'll show off the new microphone I got.
Ooh,
Oh,
shiny.
wow.
It's like a crooner mic.
Yes.
I was also discovering yesterday how great my my little Chromebook is for Hangouts and all of this stuff. I got very excited about technology yesterday. Okay. I need to be reading your comments. You guys are funny. Okay, so this is the fun part. Now we're going to decide your character motivation. This is something you're going to share with each other, because if somebody is in opposition to your motivation, that makes them an antagonist to you. And if somebody is in support of your motivation, that makes them a protagonist to you. These motivations are going to change in every chapter of our story. So in the beginning, we look at sort of a general motivation. Opening up in media res, this is your character, this is what they want. They really just want a day where they didn't have to work that hard. You know, that might be a motivation, or it might be, oh, I want that promotion. You'll have some keys in here that you'll see in the motivation box, which is underneath the arc in the second column. Your basic motivation, that's something that you always sort of want in general as a person. So the naive outsider is always looking to be self-reliant. Doesn't want to be dependent on anyone. And then there's a desire. You know, you always want to be welcomed. That kind of presents a certain character type. That means, you know, you're always going to be helpful. You always want to be included, and your fear is being out of control. So you kind of take that trifecta of what your character is generally like all the time, and then you come up with a motivation for this chapter. Now, before you do that, I'm going to explain the chapters. We're going to play through scenes. It's not as structured as, say, you know, I just lost the game in my head, like a protocol or something like that. It's pretty. It's actually a little more ambiguous than that. But we are going to go through 6 chapters of play. And these are based on the hero's journey. So we start off in a chapter called The Ordinary World. And the point of that is just this is what your character is doing in everyday comfortable life. So when you make a move where anybody can do this, if somebody makes a move that is refusing the call, in other words, you are supposed to go out into a place. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got that mixed up. If you use a move that puts your character into an uncomfortable situation and you're successful in that move, then we all move into chapter 2. So, and we'll just do that through the chapters. But right now, we're just worried about chapter 1. This is the ordinary world. This is who you are when the movie starts, when the story starts, and what is your character's motivation for that chapter. So go ahead and think that through, write it down in the motivation, and then we'll need to discuss it, because we have to figure out who, if anybody, will be against or for your motivation.
Okay, so first thing is I'm writing motivation for chapter 1. So just a statement of motivation, not one for each of the things. Just one statement of motivation, and it's chapter 1's motivation.
Right. Now, when we move to chapter 2, we'll talk about motivations for chapter 2, and they'll change as we go.
Gotcha.
They don't always change, but they usually do. It might be something like, don't get killed, you know, in chapter 3, whatever, you know, don't get put in prison. You know, don't think too hard about this. It doesn't have to be very specific. It can be, you know, it's just like, I just want to have a good day, you know, it could be that simple. Or it could be pretty detailed. Like, I really want to get my wife a present today.
Oh, awesome. That was my question, was like,
Yeah.
Can it be a thing that I can achieve? Like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
It's up to you to make that happen, though.
That's okay. I know what I'm doing. This is going to be great.
I love yours, Agatha.
Yeah, if you have your motivation, start blurting them out so that we can discuss it.
Oh, okay. Mine is to find my keys.
That's great.
Mine is to get people to agree with me and like it.
Okay, starting small, aren't we?
I think mine is I have to fill in the details. I might negotiate that with Ryan's character. We haven't named yet, but I want to ask Ryan's character to some social event.
I know what I'm about. I put in keep my crush on the Honorable Guardian under wraps.
All right, so this is our opportunity now that we know basic motivations, to identify your relationships with each other and to figure out what it is that whether somebody's against or for your motivation. There are rules about asking questions and leading ways, but let's just open it up. And you already have some ideas. So why don't we just go around the table, discuss your character concept, who they are, what they're about, and then we can decide how you all know each other. So let's start with Agatha because you're first on my screen.
Sure. I'm playing. Hold on. Mathara Anand, and she is. I think she's actually an ex-soldier. I don't know anything about the military, so if anyone knows deets, hit me up with them. But yeah, so she, used to do war things and is now retired? Question mark. Honorably discharged, I think is the word. Yeah, so I think she's here. I don't think she's from here, and I think she's working here. Maybe at one of the whatever like fracking things happening, or just some kind of local energy mining institution. She works there. She's very quiet normally, but she's not like in an awkward way. She's like pretty agreeable. Like I think everyone kind of knows her and is like, yeah, I'm cool with her, but like don't know her very well. So she kind of keeps to herself. My key trait is agreeable. So that's what I am. I've lost my keys. I haven't been able to find them for a while, and it's actually like at first it was just like okay, whatever, but now it's like it kind of bothers me, and I'm like I can't figure out why I'd still be missing them because I have a very good memory, so I generally know where everything is.
So maybe you're Afghanistan, you served your tours, and you got a job in energy, and yeah.
Sure. That sounds great.
All right. So I do too. So Lauren, you're up. What are you thinking?
Awesome. I went with like the stoic knight archetype, which I guess got in my sorry, I saw Ryan's comment. I picked the worst name ever. Yeah, so I went with the stoic knight archetype, and that kind of got in my head this guy who really aspires to be sheriff and thinks to be really good in that position, but just lacks the personality and like he comes up as a bit like gruff and someone who's not super approachable, but he really does feel things on the inside. He just has a hard time like articulating it and like connecting with people. And I think he's probably grown up here, lived here his whole life kind of thing. He what else about him? I had some stuff, but it's gone from my brain. I think, yeah, I think it's kind of all I had advice for. Yeah, stoic. Really wants to be a sheriff. Like, really doesn't know how to go about how to do it. I think he's likewise got a lot of feelings for the person he works with. Isn't also sure how to navigate that because he's not sure how that would work with like being a sheriff and what that would mean for their working relationship. And he's just feeling very conflicted about all of that and the sort of local small town politics, if they did like hook up, what that would mean for like the town and how people are very judgmental. And so I think he comes up as like being quite gruff, but I guess he's got a lot of insecurities.
Okay, great. So you're a county cop, but you're not a sheriff.
Yeah, county cop, not a sheriff, but wants to be.
Are you are you a beat cop, or are you like a detective?
Oh, what's a beat cop?
Like the boys in blue that patrol in their patrol cars, or a detective would be somebody that investigates crimes.
I guess.
And the major difference is: do you wear a uniform, or are you allowed to wear plain clothes?
Exactly.
What is hotter?
Depends on if you have a mustache or not.
Oh.
I mean, I see you ignoring the big questions, but you can't
yeah, for real.
Mustache. I guess I totally have a mustache.
Huh?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't figured out that detail yet. This is a tough question to you guys. I kind of like him being like an investigative type. I think that'll be interesting for like the murder that's gone down here. So someone who maybe he's a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It works because there's a murder probably.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you update your tab with your character name and?
Oh, sure. Where do I do that? Is it like in the
tab title? So at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of the Excel spread or the sheet spreadsheet, where it says the Honorable Guardian. That way I can just look down and see your name.
Yeah, my name is. I guess his parents hate him because his parents called him Rutherford Buckerbridge. But he goes by Buck, and don't you dare call him Rutherford.
Okay. I love it. All right. Cool. So Ryan, you're next on my order here.
Yeah, so I'm playing the Loyal Lieutenant, and I pick the Beloved Partner list of stats because of course I did. And I'm gonna be Jay Machado, sort of like biracial, kind of medium brown skin, looks like there's black in his background or something. He's from a family that's been around here for a while. Everybody knows Jay. Everyone loves Jay. I mean, he doesn't really aspire to much, but he's a detective. He's nice. He's the one you can talk to. He's not the scary cop. And yeah, you don't love Jay. Shut up. I don't love anyone. I don't have crushes. I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. My motivation is to keep my crush on Buck under wraps because, I mean, what does that even entail? I can't date someone who's running for sheriff. That's just, no, too much workplace intrigue. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to be saying, so I will shut up now.
Oh, that's good. I think we got it. And last but not least, Tyler.
I'm playing Missy Blair, Missy to her friends, and everybody's her friend. I believe what I'm sort of envisioning, she's the naive outsider. I have this concept of her. She's coming into town because she's been sent by the company to the next big thing. I don't know if it's we're going to make Fargo land or if we're building the great ski resort because everyone's excited by cross-country skiing. And, but she's got some plan coming in here. And to play into that local politics will be, are folks going to want these outsiders coming in and building something new? Maybe even like having to do eminent domain to move people off of land to get it. I'd like to keep it into something that's a little, if this isn't off tone, a little something ridiculous. I don't want her to be getting a pipeline. I'd rather it be something that people could easily go, that just, why in the world? Roller coasters in North Dakota? It's going to freeze up. They're going to break, sort of thing. But that's the concept. She's coming in to convince folks to do this new project. Should have some conflict with people going on with that. And of course, she's the smiling face of what may end up being a pretty, nasty company. Welcome to Disney World. Buy stuff.
So she's like business development.
Right.
I'll leave that to you. You get to decide all that. No pressure. Like I have in my head that in Beetlejuice, you know, when they want to make the town out of the town, you know.
Right.
That's funny. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, like the cross country ski resort. So now that you've heard each other, we already have a couple of relationships here, obviously, with the detectives. I think there might be something going on because we have two company people, right? Have you thought about anybody's motivations that you might be opposed to, as you've heard everybody around the table? This would also opening it up. So we're starting out. So this is something that is history in a way that you already know about this, and you are against the motivation, or you already know about this and you're for it. So, for example, if Mithara heard about what you were up to with this project and was opposed to it, then Mithara would be your antagonist. We don't have to start off with protagonist and antagonist, but just think through the motivations, and if there are any, this is the time to write that down.
I don't want you finding those keys. That sounds abhorrent.
I guess for the sake of conflict, maybe I should say like, oh, I don't want Buck to grab dinner with Jay. I'll figure out why
love
later.
trying. Ooh.
Oh, you've identified that there might be some interest there, and you don't want that?
We can play that out. I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure once we're in the scene, I'll know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'm probably opposed to like sort of this outsider who has way too much interest in like what our town's doing, right? Because like I'm the stable force that keeps the peace, or I wants to keep the peace, and you smell like trouble.
I'm interested to know. Do you think that's just because of what it is they're wanting to do, or just because it's change?
I think it's more. I think Buck's okay with change. He's seen this place change over time, but I guess how old is he? I guess I see him as being like, I call him, I don't know, like 30, 35. So I'm probably aging him up too much in my mind. But I think it's more I see you as being like someone who is very enthusiastic, and I think his cop gut instincts are like that enthusiasm has to be motivated by something, and I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find it out because I'm a nosy detective.
Cool. Yeah, she's very glad handy sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So what that means then is you would write under character, you would put Buck. Gotta learn everybody's names. Wait, Missy, sorry. Boy, I'm already messing up. So you put Missy down and mark her as an antagonist.
Sweet.
Now, Missy, I don't know if that's reciprocated or not, but that's up to you. So you know each other.
Have you been overt about it yet, Buck?
I think like Buck isn't very aggressive, but he's probably been asking a lot of pointed questions about like why you moved here and sort of like, you know, being inquisitive, but he's not a subtle guy. So like
so I may have already identified you as one of these folks I'm gonna have to really convert, or you're gonna be a troublemaker for my problems. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Then I'll put you down as
or, you know, find out all of my dirty laundry about how I'm in love with the J, and, you know, spread that around the town and ruin my reputation.
Let's hope we could do it a different way.
So, yeah, and Jay and Buck, you might want to mark each other as protagonists based on what I've heard. Your motivations are a little squeaky, but you're supporting each other.
Yes, I will love and support you, but not like in that kind of way. I mean, shut up.
I do anything, but not that. All right. I think we're good on that. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the machine. So sorry about this, but you do need to know some things. There is there are pretty standard mechanics at play here, where you're rolling moves, and on a 1 to 6, it's a miss. 7 to 9, partial success, 10 plus, etc. And you'll actually see every move has the same sort of outcome. So you'll see on your sheet a brief description of how that works. There'll be cases when if you miss a move, you will lose an arc, or you might gain an arc, depending upon what's going on in that particular move. So if you gain a bunch of arc and you are rising by the end of the story, that means at the end of the story you are, you've risen to a great conclusion. Or falling, not so much. So that determines your character's fate at the end of the whole story, but it will fluctuate throughout, and it always fluctuates in a very surprising way. So you'll see when we play. You'll also see there's this thing in here called plot points. These, if you played Fate, they work a lot like Fate, where you have compels and you try to get people to do things. But the way this works essentially is if you have a plot point, you can. Let me back up. Whenever you make a move, you have to do it against a conflict. Right now in the story, we have 2, murder and winter. And those are going to be there throughout the entire story. If somebody confronts a conflict, that a murder or winter, that can't be used for the rest of the chapter. So you're going to quickly run out of conflicts. So if you need to make a move, you have to have a conflict. So you'll probably have to start creating conflicts. Or as a novelist, I might create a conflict for you and say, okay, here's a plot point. Mathara, if you do something that's really terrible for you, we can create this conflict and you can make that move. The other way to do it is, okay, Chris, I'm going to give you a plot point. I'm going to go ahead and create a conflict. This person stepped up on my face. I'm going to create the conflict that I don't like confrontation. That's a character conflict. Now you can make the move. And the point of this is that there has to be conflict. We're not making moves just to make moves. We're making moves because there's a conflict. And conflicts, the easiest way to think about them is what's getting in the way of your motivation. There's your conflict. There might be conflicts that just I put out because of what's happening, and they'll just be there for the scene. So it's sort of loosey-goosey, but that's it. But so if you want to create a conflict, it'll cost a plot point. You can also pay a plot point in order to switch your arc. If you're rising and you really want to punch the guy in the face, then you pay a plot point and you can switch your arc. Vice versa. If you are falling and you find a moment where you can rise in the narrative, and it's like, okay, I'm going to pay a plot point, and now I'm rising because this is what I'm doing. The other thing is you can accept plot points, not just from me, but from any player. Players can say, hey, Chris, can you give her a plot point for causing this issue and creating this conflict? So you can compel too. You're not using your plot points. You're using limitless plot points. That makes sense. It'll make sense as we start playing. The other thing is you can re-roll a move you don't like the result of. It's another way you can spend a plot point. And the only way you can do that, though, is you have to be able to tie your motivation into the conflict. So let's say you wanted to push somebody out of the way of a car. You rolled your instinct and you failed. You could re-roll it if your motivation was that you were in love with that person, right? So you get a re-roll, but it has to tie in. That's it. So there's a currency in plot points. You have any questions about that? At the bottom of the sheet, there's a cheat sheet on what plot points do and how to get them. And there's also a document that goes into a little more detail, but you probably won't need that. All right, cool. Well, if there are no questions, I think this is a good place to take a break, and we will begin chapter 1 in Fargo. So let's take 5 minutes. We're kind of on schedule. That's pretty good. Let's go until my clock says 10:11. Let's go until 10:15. So I guess 4 or 5 minutes. All right. See you soon.
Cool.
I'm catching them on your chats. They're hilarious.
I myself, I'm just really excited to play the Fargo that I want to play. The movie was fantastic, but
It'll be fun.
very happy to I'm very happy to recreate this.
Yeah, The Godfather was a treat too. That's something I might want to run again. It's one of those where I hate to run it again because the other one was, I don't want to replicate what happened, But
Oh,
it was so much fun.
I feel those feelings. Played an oddly similar game to this tone in Seco Creek, and was like, oh, I want to play that again, but also I don't want to play it again because it was so good the first time. Yeah,
exactly.
And that one I also played a sheriff, but I was a lot more irresponsible and got super drunk, and it was really bad.
Well, this accidentally happened because I put it up to a vote. They didn't know if I wanted to do this or Reservoir Dogs, and this one won. But this is actually a lot like my buddy Dave Kazay, who did Bedlam Hall and Spirit of 77. He's making a game called Malice, a town called Malice, and it's this, but it's structured like it uses Home by Dark mechanics. So and it's really fun. I played it a lot, and
I love his stuff. His tone when he writes is so good.
I know it's Bedlam Hall is so much fun to read.
I love Bedlam Hall, and Spirit of 77 has some issues mechanically here and there, but its color and feel is immaculate. It is so neat, and I love that two-tiered character structure too. I love it.
Yeah, there's no mistaking what the game's supposed to feel like. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. I like your games too, though.
Well, I've only got one. well, I've got a lot going on under the hood, but not out yet.
So it's obviously morning on a con because I just made coffee and then realized as I was staring at a thing of just hot water that I didn't put coffee into the coffee maker. So it's trying again, but that's how my morning is going.
All right.
These are small town cop problems. I didn't put any coffee in the coffee maker. There we go.
I'll thread that for our game.
Oh man, I'm sorry. 8 o'clock. That's pretty. I usually do an 8 o'clock Sunday game. I've had a D&D campaign for, I guess we're going on 3 years on Roll20, and there's somebody from Russia, somebody from Germany, somebody from Italy, and like Sacramento, and me. But we've been playing for years. 8:30 on Sunday morning.
I try to avoid mornings.
Okay, so this is definitely a play to see what happens. I have no prep. I'm just going to see what you guys do, and I'm going to react to it. So we're going to start with chapter 1. The point of chapter 1, this is, like I said, was to establish your character's ordinary world. Throughout gameplay, when we get to a point when any of you make a move successfully that puts your character into an uncomfortable situation, as seen to the chapter, we'll go into chapter 2, which is the call, and that's the next phase of the story. So I have found that these chapters, we cannot predict how long they will go. So it's my job to identify or to compel you to move it forward. It's not really your job to do that. All you do is play out your character and your scenario, and then I'll work with you. So so don't worry too much about that. But if you might hear me say something like, wow, that sounds like you're trying to move into an uncomfortable situation. That's the key that I think it's time to move on to the next chapter. So this is all on you. I love this game because I don't really have to work that hard. All I have to do is observe and help you guys. So let's see how this goes. We're going to open up in the winter in Fargo, and let's just go around the table and describe what your characters are doing at this time. If it makes sense that you're together, that's fine. But let's just do in media res. The movie starts, the credits have rolled, and we're now looking at Mithara because you are first in line on my list here.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm heading over to wherever Jay is working. So maybe the police station? Question mark. What do you say, Jay?
Probably. I mean, I assume there aren't tons of crimes to investigate in
Yeah.
Sleepy Fargo, so
you're
no
not
paperwork.
walking the beat or whatever it is.
I'm a detective. I don't walk the beat.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, yeah, I'm going there right now. Oh, it's winter, so yeah, I'm wearing like my winter jacket and fingerless gloves.
Yeah. So who else is at the county sheriff's department?
If it's good old Buck.
Okay. All right. So Mathara's come into the county sheriff's department. It's a very cold, 15-degree morning. Fortunately, there's no blizzard yet, so it seems to be okay. In the true Fargo style, though, there is a storm coming. But yeah, it's a nice cold morning, and there's coffee, there's donuts. It's the county sheriff's department. There's the deputy that takes the phone calls. Buck, what's her name?
Oh, her name is Rachel.
Well, Rachel's there. Her pregnancy's going along really well. She's probably about 6 months in. And
can I X that name?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, just because that's my sister's name, it's going to get a little weird if I'm in a murder mystery.
Yeah. How about names? Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
We call her Mac, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously.
Obviously. If it's okay with your character, Ryan, like perhaps you're a little bit late to work, and I've noticed. So I've set aside a donut and a coffee on your desk for you when you get in, so like you don't miss out on breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the one that he likes?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's for sure that shot of like the donut with like the strawberry frosting or whatever you like, and like the sprinkles, and then like we get the steam like off of the hot coffee like in the sort of office. So I'm assuming it's not very well like heated. But of course, Mackenzie has a heater by her because like we gotta take
And she's already taken her shoes off. It's okay. So Mathara has come in, and you all know her as working for the company.
Yeah, I like stomp my feet on the mat. Yeah, take off my gloves. Hey, Mackenzie.
Come on in. We have some donuts this morning, and then she a ridiculous amount, really, because there's not that many people in the department. But she pulled out, the 24 donuts and offers one to you.
Thank you. I take it. I don't eat it. I'm looking for Jay. Is he around?
It's an open office, so all she does is she kind of points to the back, and you see a couple of deputies. You also see Jay and Buck.
Thanks. I walk over with that donut in my hand. Jay?
Morning, Ms. Was it Anand?
Mm-hmm.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can we talk for a sec?
Kind of gesture to a seat to sit down.
And this Buck, I'm assuming Buck is like sitting like opposite Jay and is like privy to all of this.
Yeah, I look at Buck and then I look back at you.
Or do you mean privately?
Sure. Privately.
I think
I hand you the donut.
Buck leans forward in a seat but doesn't say anything. He just is watching very skeptically.
I assume we've got to have a room for like
Buck.
interrogations if we ever actually interrogated someone. So I'll probably
sure. There are offices. I mean, it's not, they're not used very often, but there are offices, and there's also a questioning room. There's the sheriff. Who's the sheriff?
Who is the competition?
Jay, you get to decide that since.
Oh no, I was gonna try to punt that one to Lauren again. Or name everyone. How about Louise?
Luis Ramirez.
Of course, yes.
And is he an old timer or is he a young strapping or
Oh,
somewhere?
I was thinking Louise like the women's name, but
Oh, Louis. Oh, I went Luis. Okay,
you could
Louise
go either way.
Ramirez.
And I think old timer.
Okay, she. Okay, Louise is in her office, going through paperwork. But you also have another sort of community office that you can use.
To kind of look around to see what's open, who's around, and gesture to the community office. Like, okay,
Yeah, you do. When you're looking around, you do see Mac just kind of watching very closely, eating her donut, taking mental notes.
Of course she is.
Shall we?
Yeah. Get up.
Yeah,
and get the door for you.
Okay. Do you close the door behind you or do I close it?
I probably don't pull it closed, so yeah, you get to dramatically close it on us.
Yeah, there's like the click of the door closing. Jack, what are you gonna do about your brother?
What's he done now?
I don't know why, but he took my keys.
Why would he want your keys?
That's what I want to ask him, but every time I see him, he runs away with his group of friends. You're a cop. You know how to deal with him, don't you?
Okay, so you are right now. You're creating a conflict.
Conflict.
Sounds like conflict.
You
that
can
mean?
you can either pay a plot point, which you have one right now, to 0,
Yeah.
and just create the conflict, or
Okay.
you can instead take another plot point by making this in some way really hard on your character. So that compel though means I get to decide really what it is that's terrible about this conflict.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take complications.
Yeah, if you pay the plot point, that means you really decide what's going on with that.
Oh, that's fine.
There's a lot of exchange of narrative control in here, but there's always a cost. So you can have complete narrative control if you pay a plot point. Otherwise,
that's fine.
I do. So what would you like to do?
I'll take the plot point and whatever the complicated thing that makes things hard for me is.
Yeah. Okay. So his brother is
Joel.
Joel. Okay. Thank you. I was looking. I was stumbling there. Okay. So your brother Joel is a company man. He's like VP of operations. So
running around with his friends.
So that means, though, that this is a sensitive situation because Joel is your boss, not just your boss, an executive, and has your life in his hands, figuratively. But yeah, so and running around with his friends, I mean, yeah, he's got these blue collar guys that he always goes out drinking with, and they get too rowdy and messy.
Okay. Do I put that in somewhere on my sheet or not?
Well, I'm going to call it a character conflict, and we're going to just call it Joel is a jerk.
Okay.
And so that is now a conflict that can be used, and you get a plot point.
Sweet. Yeah.
And there's a spot for plot points on top of your sheet somewhere. You can just add to it.
Okay. Yeah. Jay, I don't get it. Like, why are you so nice and your brother is such a dick?
Don't know. I mean, I can't explain it myself. I guess I got all the nice genes or something. And he's not that bad, but
He took
can
my
see
keys.
Jay kind of struggling, like he doesn't want to badmouth his brother, but also his brother is just kind of a dick, and he's like, yeah, he's a character.
Like, isn't that some kind of like corporate harassment thing?
Oh, probably. I mean, but then shouldn't you like take this to HR or something? You're big enough? You got an HR, right?
We don't have an HR branch here.
Oh,
They only have it in the home branch.
right. Not knowing, like, I know how corporate structure works. Yeah, I'll look into it for sure.
Can you just steal it back from me?
You're asking a detective to steal something for you?
Well, technically it's not his, right? Can you confiscate it for me?
Okay, so here's how this works. You are navigating others, which means that you are trying to guide. You're trying to guide Jay into doing something for you. If you were rising or falling, you could do that in a different way. But since you're flat, everybody starts off flat. You're navigating. So this is a personality roll. Now, if you succeed, then Jay will get an arc for going along with you. It doesn't mean you have to. And if are you protagonist or antagonist? You're not anything, right?
Jay is my antagonist.
Oh, okay. That means then you get a favor, which you roll 3 dice, and you pick the highest 2.
Oh, okay. Do we have a roll for your party or no?
Oh no, I didn't set that up. I completely forgot. We can set that up, or you can use real dice if you prefer.
I don't have real dice with me. Sorry.
Set that up. Sorry, rookie mistake.
Lauren, what are real dice? That's such a story gamer thing to say.
All right, and you can set up okay, new room. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jay, how do you feel about this? About me kind of just peer pressuring you? Are we actually friends?
I mean, I think some of that's going to come down to how well you roll on convincing me to go with you. But
you know, that's fair.
But I want to get along with everybody, and you're bringing these big town problems into our small town, and people didn't steal each other's keys before the company showed up. I mean, I'm sure they did.
Now, the reason you get a favor is because if you're rolling against a protagonist, it's easier for you to be manipulative or to get your way. So that's why you get a favor. So I set up a room for you, I think.
But but he's my antagonist. Does that make a difference or not?
Yeah, it does. It means you get a favor. So you can roll 3 dice and pick the highest 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank goodness. 3 and 5. That's an 8.
Yeah, you're rolling your personality.
Okay, so it's a 9.
So that means then you will get a +1 arc, Jay, if you go along with this.
Sure, I will go along with this.
I don't want this to be a big deal. I don't want, to get whatever conflict there is. I just need my keys. It's not just to my house. There's stuff on there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get them back.
Thanks, Jay. A good friend.
Okay, they've been in there a while, Buck, and you don't know what's going on. But let's come back to that later. So Missy.
Oh, I think I'm probably. I think that considering how small, Fargo's not a tiny place. I've been actually staring at Fargo and the local environs on Google Maps and such, and boy, I love the roads around there. They are just like straight for hundreds of miles. It's phenomenal. But I imagine, about 120,000 people in all of Fargo. But I've got a feeling that this is the police station here probably also has like has the little courthouse attached, and probably has like the local records for like the survey records and deeds records and all that. So I think Missy's coming in, and she comes in. She's dressed nice. I do have a picture up in my character sheet, but she's dressed well. She's got on a heavy coat, faux fur collar, but it's an expensive one. So it looks really nice. As she comes in, and she's been here before. She's outsider. I don't think she's been in town long, probably no more than like a week or so. But she's already learned names. That's something they teach you early on. Learn someone's name. And so as she comes in, she's smiling. Mac, it's so good to see you again.
Missy, oh, where have you been? I have some donuts.
Oh, well, and I brought you a coffee. I know the coffee here can't be as good as they have. And she,
you are an angel from heaven. You are an angel from heaven. Now, these ones have some custard cream. This one is raspberry, but if you don't want the cream, I also just got your typical standard glazed donut. We have chocolate, blueberry, and vanilla.
You know that I'm just a no-frills sort of girl. And she leans down and she's got like rings on, and you can see her very expensive watch as she picks up just the glaze. Oh,
I love what you did with your hair. How do you get it so wavy? Whenever I try that, it frizzes out like I don't want to say the word.
It's wash, rinse, and repeat.
Oh, of course. You are such a dear.
I've got to go back into records again, if you don't mind. What? Oh.
Hey, Chris, I'm just going to X-card that racist comment.
Oh, I wasn't referring to race. I was just referring to Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
I misunderstood.
But I've got to go back into the records room again. I've been looking around up near Mapleton, and I swear I cannot manage to find out who owns that place up north of there. Nothing, and no one seems to be willing to tell me a thing.
Oh, okay. Well, you can have the. Well, I don't know. A buck.
And Buck, for the most part, has been like not staring daggers, but just sort of like watching them. Oh, is this the meeting room? Like, I'm guessing it's like got a glass window pane with like some what do you call them? It's like the window shady things.
The like Venetian blinds.
Oh, the
Venetian
blinds. But they're kind of like tilted a bit, so like if he looks real hard, you can kind of make out like a little bit what you guys is like doing, but you can't quite figure it out. So like I think that his name like turns his attention away from what he interprets to be like potentially an intimate moment between the two of them.
Detective Buckeridge, so nice to see you. Buckerbridge, is that it?
You can call me Buck, man.
Oh, Buck. I'm needing to check out the records again.
Again?
Well, maybe you would know. Up north of Mapleton, there's a farm up there that has no trespassing signs. All of the surveys are showing it's a rather large parcel of land. No one will tell me who owns it, and I mean, I've got no response from any letters. I'm just trying to put a name to the place.
Well, have you ever considered there might be a reason that folks don't want you to know that information, ma'am?
Well, I mean, it's the sort of thing that would be in public records now, wouldn't it, Detective?
Okay, so Missy, you're creating a conflict here. And as I said before, you can either pay a plot point and make it what you want it to be, or You can let me do it, and you'll get a plot point.
I have a suggestion to throw in the mix too. I don't know if this, but I kind of like the idea of that property actually being owned, like it's like someone's aunt, or like Buck's, like it's in just because we're such a small town, right? Or
yeah, totally. And if you want it to be that way, then it's your plot point that's paying.
Awesome. How does that sound, Tyler?
So you just
or
it's up to you. If you want narrative control and make it what you want, then you pay a plot point. Or if you want me to decide, I pay you.
I'm willing to pay a plot point, but I want to pitch mine, and then if you'd rather, I'll lean to you, and might come to a mix here. But plot point I'm wanting to make is that something terrible happened there. And to play into I believe we have supernatural as part of as our desired themes.
We have secret horror.
Yeah.
I'm so into that.
So I'm going to pay the plot point, and that the reason that this has been, it may have even been taken out of the archive. Somebody may have run off with it. But something awful, and that's why nobody's talking about it. That's why I'm getting the complete runaround. But it is a perfect place for Wonder Flakes, which is a subsidiary of Megatainment. It's got a nice creek, small river that runs through it. It is a beautiful place for Wonder Flakes to build the resort. And so that's what I'm paying into. And
I'm here for all of that.
Yep. Cool. And the way this works is you have narrative control. This is you get to decide everything about this. Or if that's the limit of what you want to decide, that's cool too.
Okay. I think that's what I want to have decided, except I'm sure you know, Buck, what the deal is and why. As you know, it just seems to me that it should be on a record somewhere. I mean, it's not like you would lose that sort of thing. I mean, the taxes of the place alone.
And Buck's like scratching his permanent 5 o'clock shadow, right? You can sort of hear the sound of like the scritch of skin on skin. And he's like, man, the record's not lost. It just doesn't exist.
It's unclaimed land? And you see Missy perk up at that.
Man, look, I appreciate you're new in town and you don't quite understand how it works here, but it's not unclaimed land neither. It's just it's best if you don't talk about it. Just don't. I'm saying this for your own sake. Don't bring it up.
Well, I've seen town council and they've been very favorable in general. Detective, I don't want to bother you anymore. If you don't mind, I'll just look around one more time, and then, if need be, I'll go to Councilman Snyder.
Oh, you don't want to be. You stay away from that guy as well. Like, I think he sort of says a side comment like outsiders.
Yeah. What's your motivation of bringing up Councilman Snyder?
Kind of as a little bit of a threat, that sort of thing of I'll go over your head.
I'll go over your head, yeah.
So you want him to tell you what this is actually about.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get Buck to agree to tell me that my motivation there. And ideally I could phrase it in a way that you wouldn't mind doing it, but Buck's so hostile to me anyway.
Yeah, so this is a navigate others, a personality roll.
Okay. And so personality, and with mine, it is a 0. I have 0 in everything but morality. So 2 dice and submit. And I rolled horrible. That's a 3.
Okay. That means you get no incentive to go along with this. Buck, let's see if I have this right. Okay. Yeah. All that means is that you get no incentive of going along with this.
Yeah. So I think what that looks like is Buck was slashed in his seat and he kind of leans forward a bit. And he's like, ma'am, I don't appreciate threats around here. You can go to Councilman Snyder.
Well, Detective, I certainly wasn't wanting to ruffle your feathers. I'll turn around on a very expensive shoe heel and go walking back.
And I'll say, oh, I'll say as you leave, like I'll sort of do a tip of the hat and be like, yeah, like y'all have a good day now.
As I walk by, Max, sweetie, appreciate the donut. I'll be seeing you, hon.
He's in one of his moods.
I give that sort of knowing nod. I understand as I head out.
Okay, so we have a couple of conflicts here. What do you want to do next? I'll turn it around on you guys. So we have we know that there is somebody in the company that is stealing keys spitefully for some reason. We know that there is a creepy empty lot that's being completely closed off to the public for no reason. And we know that certain people are hiding certain things. So what's next?
It's just I'm not sure if this is like a big enough scene, but I kind of like the idea of Buck when Jay comes back, like confiding in him that he like let slip that the plot's like unclaimed. You know, like he feels a bit guilty about not having the social like awareness or clarity to like keep that stuff inside. It kind of just came out.
Is there something about that piece of information that you're concerned about?
I guess from my character's perspective, Missy came in, rolled him for information. He let slip that like it's an unclaimed lot and no one owns it. And she was like, oh, that means like no one owns it. And she looked way too happy about that. So I think he's like, this is like playing into this like suspicion about Missy's got big plans for this town, you know?
Yeah. Is there something that you want to do about this?
I don't think so. I think that's why it's not a big enough scene, but it's
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
Maybe I do. Maybe I want to go like. Maybe we should go stake her out. But Jay.
I mean, whatever you decide, I'll support you on it. Although, am I rising now since I have an arc point?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You can just put. You can put. You should be able to select that on the character sheet. Add a point. Add a circle. To your arc.
I ticked my arc. So ha.
So maybe. Oh yeah. Sorry. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna. So you want to stake him out or stake her out?
Yeah. I think like. Yeah. Let's do some digging into Missy. I'm guessing she's staying at like a hotel or something like or a motel or some lodgings at this place.
Now, the company probably has lodging, and maybe have a deal with the Fargo hotel somewhere. All right. So while you're going to do that, Mathara, what are you up to?
I think I think I'm one of Missy's surveyors, or else both of us have like not a lot of ties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Like this town or like to each other. So yeah, I'm gonna go and report back to her.
Okay. All right. So you can meet at the hotel, and then sure. The cops are outside staking out, watching what's going on.
Sounds great. I need those keys though.
Well, I mean, you have your hotel key.
I don't though.
Oh, you don't? Those are the keys they took.
It's everything.
Everything.
That is a part of that. So I don't have access to anything right now. But I have my phone. Yeah. So I guess where do I meet you, Missy?
If you've called ahead, I'll probably meet you down in the lobby. And are you from here? Like we hired a local surveyor, or did you come out from out with me?
I guess that maybe I was thinking that I was here already, like ahead, like because you know how you send like preliminary surveyors,
Right. Okay.
and then like the bigwig comes, and you're the bigwig. So I think I was here for like maybe 2 years. So I'm not a
Okay.
local, but
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll come down and meet you in the lobby.
ma'am,
Mathra, Mathara. Please
Mathara?
pronounce it. I'm so sorry.
Mathara, yeah,
Yeah, that's me. That's not her. She will get it perfectly. Mathara.
yeah. Okay.
Mathara. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. Have you had a chance to get the lines laid out for that entire lot that we were looking at?
No, I haven't, ma'am. My keys have been stolen, and I reported it. So that's what I was doing. But I can go do that now.
These police in this town, it just surprises me. I mean, Fargo may not be a big city, but that detective Buckeridge Bridge is, well, downright rude.
He has a nice mustache, though.
Well, I was thinking, I've given a call to the boys in the trucks, maybe sending up a couple of those fancy new drones. Fly over the property. We could get a better look at what's inside of all of those fences and signs.
Would you like me to accompany them, or?
Of course, of course. I mean, your expertise, you're the person on the ground. You're the brains behind it all.
All right, sounds good. When would we be heading out?
As soon as they get everything loaded.
Okay.
So, Buck and Jay, wouldn't it be interesting to know what's going on in there? I mean, you're in your car. You're not getting anything. Don't you think you should go inside and try to either hide or maybe set up some sort of reconnaissance? I don't know if you have recording equipment. I mean, don't you need to do more than sit in the car?
Yeah, totally.
They could be talking about anything in there.
Yeah, what do you think, Jay? What kind of equipment do we have? Or maybe,
I mean, you could, leak under the lob if you wanted, and just set up your long range surveillance and just pick up any audio that's coming in with your that illegal microphone you got. You could do that if you wanted a plot point.
I kind of like that because I feel like it's gonna hurt Jay's feelings. I feel like it's a little underhanded. I don't know how Jay feels about this.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a warrant for that or anything, do we?
We don't.
And also, I need to find my brother and get those keys back, but I don't want to, tell my partner that I'm not going to go on stakeouts with him. So I don't know. I'm losing morality points here. Because we're a mechanic.
If that's the case, I mean, you can try to stop or convince him not to do that, not to go under the rules. No one's going to know, but you could take a moral stand because you're rising.
Oh, I'm rising. So yeah, I'm gonna make a moral stand because we need to be above board on this. If we're just sneaking around, are we any better than the company coming in trying to take over our town?
No, but Jay, I got a bad feeling about this.
Buck, you do have a plot point since you're going forward with this plan. But if Jay, if you want to stop him,
no. I kind of like the idea of being stopped because you're so sweet and I love you.
Well, and Buck's my protagonist, so I get the 3 dice.
Yeah, well, if you are doing something to support Buck, you would get 3 die. But since you're doing something against him, you only get 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to do that.
Against my heart.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so I only get to roll 1 die, or I roll 2, take the worst?
Oh, you roll 2, take the worst. Sorry.
Oh man, this is gonna go so terribly. I'm definitely doing it then. Okay, so that's 3, so a total of 4 with my morality.
All right, so there is no incentive at all for for Buck to listen to Jay.
Do we have like that awkward thing of I pull like out the surveillance device and then you put a hand over mine to stop me?
There's one thing I forgot to mention. We didn't do this before because it's actually kind of a new development in the game. You do need to roll on a conflict. And I completely forgot that in the last move. It didn't matter because it failed, and this one failed too. But the conflict is something I'm going to have to create because it's not in there. Let's see. We could tie it to creepy empty lot because that's what this is all about. Unless you wanted to create a new conflict. So I'm sorry, I just forgot about that very important mechanic. But anyway, it doesn't matter because you failed to roll anyway. But go ahead. Don't mind me.
Yeah, so Jay puts a hand over Buck's on the surveillance screen. Is like, no, we should be by the book about this.
And Buck like definitely doesn't blush or like like tense up a little bit like when your hand like cups his. And there's that really pregnant silence. So the thing here is I have like authority to sort of say if I go along with it or not, correct? That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean you are the ranking person there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay.
I can't give you any mechanical benefit either way, only my disappointment.
I know, that's what your disappointment hurts. I hate you. How does he react? I think he like pinches his lips together and he says, I don't know, Jay, if I don't go through with this and we don't know what they're up to, I'll never forgive myself if bad things happen to this town because of these nosy city folks running around here. I think like he takes his hand like away from yours, but like and gives yours like a gentle pat, and then sort of like goes through with listening in on this conversation. I feel terrible.
All right, so I'm creating a conflict called the company. And I'm going to bring it back to Missy. You are well aware that you have the resources to just go into that lot. All you'd have to do is make a phone call. But it would rub the politicians wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make that phone call, you can have a plot point.
Oh, sweet candy-like plot point. No, I think I'm still again. I'm trying to work in this system. I'm trying to make friends here. We're going to have to work with these people after we start going through. And despite the dirty cops, I'm a really nice person. So, no, I think I'm going to go with this idea of we're going to send drones over. I think the laws are pretty lax on if that's really trespassing, especially if we're up high enough. So, you know, I think we're going to just go and do our own little scan over and see what's in there. Heck, it may end up being that the place just looks like total crudola.
Yeah, Buck, Jay, they're going to send drones over that property.
Noted.
You don't know what's up there, but you know that it's not supposed to be found.
So I think I'll, Mathara, do you need me to ask someone here at the hotel for... Surely they got a spare key for your room.
I would like that. very much.
We'll get you all handled. Don't worry.
Thank you.
We really appreciate how much you've done here. I mean, it can't be easy being out here in the sticks for this long. And my goodness, how long has it been?
It's been 2.5 years, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Megatainment really should have been moving on this project much faster. But, you know, Happy Skippy Land was just having so many problems. The Happy was great, but Skippy was going very poorly.
I understand, ma'am. I don't know what you're talking about.
And so I'll head over to the desk to arrange that, as leaving you, I suppose, to go and survey with the boys or whatever. I just kind of, it's whatever crew she brought.
Yeah, sure. I'll ride with them. With one key, but not my key.
Okay, so you're going to go survey the land. What are the cops doing?
I know Jay, should we follow him? I think wherever we end up, I envision a really short scene where I apologize for not going through and maybe ask you to dinner.
And I feel like, going by the letter of the law, probably we shouldn't be just tailing people, but also we've got to keep them from finding out whatever's up in the creepy stuff. So yeah, I guess we got to tail him.
And I love that, like, I guess what time of day is, I guess it's daytime. It's really kind of like that sort of like yellow, like soft winter light, right? Like it's like the day's passing, and the like I think we're driving. It's probably a silent drive, right? And I think Buck is marinating on like you stepping in and saying, no, we should like do this the right way, and him going through with it anyway, because he's like, he's got authority over you in that sense. Like he's full rank, and he feels really bad about that. So like, he like plays a sort, and says like, hey, I'm sorry about how I acted back there.
I mean, it's your prerogative, I suppose.
But that's not how I like to work with you, Jay. You know, like we're buddies, we're partners.
Yes, and then I roll to shut someone down. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just kind of awkward affirmative noises, looking out the window.
And like he can the movie of this, you can see that he's like really building up to this in his mind, even though it's probably not like a huge ask. And he's like, hey, why did I make it up to you? Like after we're done here this afternoon, I'll grab you a bite.
And I think, were we privy to Jay's inner thoughts, it would be just but why is my brother such a dick? What does he want with all these keys and stuff? And then dinner, and he kind of just startles, like, what? Yeah, sure, that would be great. Yeah.
Great. What do you like? What do you like eating?
Oh, you know me, I'm not picky.
Well, how about we swing by Maybelle's diner on the way back? I know I can drop you off at your place afterwards.
Oh, sure, of course. Sounds great.
Yeah, great.
AJ's totally like, I am just crushing this. I am totally cool.
And you can see like the sort of secret grin blossoming on like Buck's face that he has to turn outside the window so you don't see it. Great.
And I think Jay has the exact same expression about the other window.
And you're so wrapped up in this, you almost completely miss the fact that there is a survey van and a crew going on near this property, parked and setting up a drone. And you're coming upon this scene, which is where Mathara is. And you have your 5 crew workers setting up the drone and the equipment, and they have they're installing it, doing all of the technology, and you're supervising. You also see a patrol car. Oh no, this is probably unmarked.
Is it unmarked?
I don't know. I guess a good question.
Hmm.
I'll leave that up to you.
I guess it's unmarked for detectives. I don't know how detective works.
Yeah, probably one of those, black, what is it, like Lincoln Town Car or something that they use.
Yeah.
But with
But
the extra
super
wires,
subtle.
where you can tell it's totally got cops in, but
Oh,
there's no
yeah.
official cop labeling.
Yeah, totally.
State tag on it.
And it's
Yeah.
it's highway land too, so it's like the only car you've seen in 2 hours. And
Okay, yeah, I'm like leaning against the car. I think I should change my like key trait to not agreeable, but just quiet because I don't think I've been a very agreeable person so far.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm like leaning against the car, and I think I'm wearing one of those like super puffy jackets, with like loose jeans, and my hair is like pulled up into this really messy bun. And I'm like, huh. I mean, I see this car, but is it stopping?
I guess it pulls up to a slow stop, right? Like we get that shot of it crunching up on the, sort of parking just off the road, right? So it crunches on the gravel like ground nearby.
Yeah, I like wave to like Bobby, and I'm like, send that up now.
So Bobby's setting up the drone, sending it. Or are you asking him to put the drone away?
No, send it up.
Okay. Yeah, so he sends it up. Going on, you're watching live footage. Almost immediately, you see in the snow a bunch of red blood.
Oh, so this is recent.
About, like 100 feet into the snow. Yeah.
Detectives, just in time.
And I guess we get that shot of like car doors opening and shutting, right? And then like I feel like Buck tries to posture himself a bit, like where he says, "Oh, sorry, you visited your stakers."
Well, you see the drone go off, and the crew's sort of like reacting, but you don't know what they're reacting to. The footage is unclear, but it's like a projectile spray of blood on the snow and a body in the snow.
Okay, I'm gonna take whatever tablet, not iPad, over. I'm just gonna walk over with my fingerless gloves and showing you, not handing it to you, but I'm showing you.
There's a murder.
And I think
It's
like
your property.
Yeah, like I think Buck was like he was ready to do the posturing of like like yeah, he just did like oh what do you got going here kind of thing, and so he's got his like thumbs in his belt loops, but then he sees like the footage on like the pad, and he sort of like startles a bit and takes it off you, and then probably makes a low whistle and turns like to face it to Jay as well.
Jay just kind of blanches.
Jay, you know that jacket.
Oh no, whose jacket is it?
Oh, jeez.
That's your brother.
Yeah. Oh, Joel, sorry, yeah. They're like trying to not swear, also swear, because, yeah, that's totally my brother.
Wait, so doesn't that mean that I should recognize him as well? Because he's my boss.
Yeah, but this is, he's not wearing company clothes.
Oh. So I don't know what my boss looks like, question mark?
Well, he's
I guess you.
like a leather jacket or something, and he's face down in the snow or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
You're right, but we'll just say that he's not wearing a jacket you're used to saying.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe
and when
beanie or something pulled down so there's not many identifiable features, I guess, if he's face down in the snow.
and it's the one that you got him for his birthday.
He wore it for once, and then he died.
It is so ugly.
The first
Dare
and
you
last
insult
time.
my taste.
I think like when Jay is like, "That's my brother," like Buck immediately like leans into you and puts an arm on your like shoulder and is like, "Shit, Jay, are you okay? Like he's just very, like, he's gonna say all the wrong things. I apologize in advance. He's like, shit, you okay?
No, yeah. I mean, we got a case now, I suppose. I mean, that looks suspicious to me.
Because it's okay if you're. I mean, it's okay if you're like not okay with. I mean, do you need a hug or no? You're right. Sorry.
Trying to double down and just be a cop and everything. So, as an end, I think we found your keys.
Are you sure?
I'll have to go see.
You're right, Jay. Go check it out.
I'm like looking at you, Buck, and like basically waiting for you to call like, you know, the crime scene investigator people, like the people who take pictures and all that jazz.
I call it in. Yeah.
And I'm also waiting for you to take Jay off this case.
So Jay, you are having to silo your personal reaction with your duty as a cop. And so in order to really go to the crime scene as you've been instructed, you will need to protect yourself. So this is a rising move. You're rising. You're also you're rolling against the conflict. You could either roll against murder, or more specifically, Joel is dead. I think Joel is dead makes sense because it's specifically your brother. And if you succeed in this, you'll be able to silo appropriately. And that means you have moved into an uncomfortable situation, and we'll move on to the next chapter. If you don't succeed, well, things will go differently.
I'm unlikely to succeed, given that I have a negative instinct. But yeah, I'm totally going to roll against Joel is dead.
Okay.
So I don't have, like, any particular plus or minus to the roll itself?
Just, it is protect yourself, so you're rolling instinct.
Okay, cool. And I get to add both dice? Or just...
Yes, add both.
Well, it doesn't really matter anyway, because I get a total of 3.
Okay.
But I could have potentially gotten a 0 if this was added differently.
Okay, so what this means is you lose an arc. You come up to the scene, and it's only a couple hundred yards in, but it's a long couple hundred yards. Every step is weighing on you as you're crutching through the snow, and you can see the form get closer and closer. And you get about 10 yards away before you feel extremely nauseous. And you start shaking, and a panic descends, and you do not think you can move any closer. All of the memories are coming back. And you can start seeing, you see the detail of the boots that he's wearing. You recognize the jeans. And, you know, all of that corporate bullshit's gone away. You're a child again, making snowmen, you know, and you can't really get any closer.
And I just kind of stammer out incoherently, just give me a sec, and turn and just puke on the snow.
So okay, everybody there's witnessing that, except Missy, who's probably what's Missy doing right now?
I think I'm making a call to you, actually.
Okay, and I think I've probably gone. I'm probably meeting at a local diner. One of the city councilmen is what my intention was. So you know. And generally, it's just glad handing, so it's not even worthy of much scene unless, unless I'm wanting to do a befriend there, if you think it's worthy of that.
Yeah, it's Councilman Snyder, right?
Yeah, I think, we've named him already, so that's probably a good idea. And it's really just to get that, this is going to be so good for Fargo, and just think of how, how much revenue, and of course, Megatainment is always so good to its local people, and we hire locally for all of our non-executive positions and that sort of thing.
And that's when you get the call from Mathara. Oh.
All right, I will pick up the phone. Mathara, excuse me, Councilman. I just have to take this. Why don't you get a piece of pie? As I stand up from the table and Mathara. Oh, have you had a chance to look in?
Yeah, we did, and we found a body, ma'am.
What? And she's sort of looking and like moving away further, and looks back over the councilman. A body, like a person.
I believe it belonged to Joel. Detectives are on the scene.
Did we establish his last name?
Oh, yeah, Jay, what's your last name?
Yeah, what's her last name? What was it?
Machado.
Machado?
Machado.
I will put it in the chat.
All right. I will say it with a question mark. Really?
Yeah. Right after we came, two detectives showed up. One is Joel's brother, and the other one is his boss.
Buckerbridge. Well, should I come out there?
I don't think so. Not right now. We're all witnesses. It would be more complicated if you came.
You might have to change your attire, and it would be extremely uncomfortable for you to do that. But your character maybe should go out there against everything that she would want to do, just because this sounds very serious, and maybe you'll have to drop the act, which is extremely painful for you. But if you do choose to go out there, you can have a plot point.
I could use a plot point. Mathara, I think I probably should come out. I mean, murder on this property, that changes everything. I'll be out shortly.
Sounds good, ma'am. I wait for you to hang up.
Yeah, as I hang up, I move up. Councilman, this is all on me, and well, seems like there's something rather unusual out at the property. I'm sure you'll be hearing about it soon, and I'll be in touch. As I sort of wave and head out.
He does that kind of neck crane thing as you walk out. Oh, it's on mute. All right, so you make it out to the site. In the meantime, your CSI department, which is Terry and Francis, they're out there. They arrive about the same time as Missy. And it's not exactly the kind of thing you can tape up, but they've come out. I guess at this point too, where have you, Jay? Are you still there? What did you do after this? While the CSI is coming, and Missy's probably rental car comes.
Did Buck tell me to leave or something? Otherwise, I'm probably still there trying not to puke again.
In my head, it was probably that shot of Buck like crunching across the permafrost like after you puked to be like without thinking, put an arm around you, just like get you away from the scene. Yeah. So he probably offered to drive you home.
What?
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm staring at both of you like, are we in the same movie?
Or I don't know what I'm playing.
But I'm about it. I'm just like, Mathara is just like, what?
Or back to the yeah, whatever. Whether it's back to the station or back to like, you need to get away from the scene. I think.
Yeah.
If you would
Jay's
like,
all like, no, you've got cop business to do. You got to investigate the scene, and you should stay here.
Are you navigating others?
Sure, I'll navigate others.
All right, you can roll against the same conflict. This is you want him to take you home, so this is sort of I'm guessing because you probably don't want to be here. I don't need to put motivations in your mind, but if that's the case, then you are still rolling against putting yourself into an uncomfortable situation, as you're insisting on staying. If you want to make that roll.
Sure. So Buck's my protagonist. And I'm trying to convince him to not do what I want.
Which is technically
so how do I roll?
It's technically against what Buck wants. Therefore, you're rolling with 2 dice, picking the lowest.
Okay. So that's a huge whopping 3.
Okay, so your convincing doesn't go very well.
Yeah, my argument is as feeble as it sounded in the first place.
So, Buck, you don't get any incentive to not take him home. You do have a duty. There's that, to investigate the crime.
Is it possible for me to do something?
Yes, of course.
Here? Yeah, I'm like watching this and like, what? And I like step forward and I'm like, officer, I can drive Jay home. You know where to find me if you need to take my statement. The rest of my crew will stay here. If Jay really needs to go home.
oh my lord, that's amazing. Like his Buck feels conflicted because he saw the two of you like go into a room together, and he's not sure if there's anything going on between you and Jay, but also he's got a job to do, and that should take priority.
Should I roll? Question mark.
yeah.
It can be a navigate others.
Okay.
Unless you're rising and you want to take. I don't think you're rising.
I'm not rising.
Yeah.
I have not risen. Oh, and you're not my antagonist. Sad. Okay. Hold on. Oh. That is a 3 plus 1 is 4.
Well, the dice are showing us a standoff here. So.
Oh my lord.
You still have no incentive to go along.
No incentive to go. It is.
I mean, there's an internal conflict here.
There is an internal conflict happening right now.
So you can let the dice decide, and if you are, it's again, we're all going into this uncomfortable situation because it's all around this murder. So if you, let's see, I guess this is. Okay, so when we look at the stats, we're talking about either you are going to go with your instinct, which is to take him home and comfort him, right? Versus your job, which is morality. I think the move here is we can do this a couple of ways. You can rise to the occasion and pay a plot point to make a moral stand and just deal with yourself and say, okay, the good of the people outweighs this, therefore I'm going to go and do this. Or I can pay you a plot point and you can instead lash out and go against your instinct and just kind of, but in a way that might be not in the best light. So this is how you can resolve your internal conflict. It's a bit tricky.
Interesting. I think I'm gonna take the moral stand. I think that feels appropriate for like what I'm feeling for this scene.
Okay.
and of course we see all that internal conflict on his face. Like he looks from Jay to Mathara, and back to Jay again, and then like back to like his obvious job that he's gonna do, right? Because it's like a fucking murder. And he says, "Yeah, that'd actually be."
But before you decide,
Yeah.
let's see what the dice.
Oh, sorry, the dice. Yes.
So go ahead and roll morality.
Morality.
And you have complete narrative control whether or not you succeed because you paid a plot point for this.
Awesome. So roll 2d6 in my morality.
Yeah.
So, I will give you some. Oh, I got snake eyes.
Oh my god.
What does that do?
So what this means is that you lose an arc.
Oh.
And because you paid a plot point, normally I would tell you what happens, but since you paid a plot point, you decide what happens. But the outcome has to be against what you were after. So
Okay.
you do not take a moral stand, and you get to play out how that happens.
Oh, interesting. Oh, Buck. I'm sorry, Buck. So taking a stand against my moral duty to go and like investigate this murder, which would be
all fell apart. Your instinct took over.
Yeah, which would be a really good idea because like on a meta level, Missy's coming or she's there. But I think like Buck, we see Buck like take a closer stand towards like Jay and sort of like look at Mathara and say like, it's okay. What the names? Francis and Terry.
Yeah, Francis and Terry.
Yeah, it's like Francis and Terry. Like, they've got the scene. They'll take everyone's statements, and I'll be right back. I just gotta make sure that Jay's okay.
I don't say anything. Just look at you.
Is that okay, Jay?
I should add, when you have narrative control, you can introduce anything into the story that you want that applies to what's going on. It's not just about you. You obviously can't be another player, but you can introduce elements into the story, characters, situations, as long as it applies to what you were, the conflict you were dealing with. This was an internal conflict, which was, we'll call it sense of duty.
Yeah.
Or you can leave it like that. You don't have to do anything fancy, but you have control. You paid for it.
Oh man, I know that I play so many story games. All I can think of is like, how can I make this worse for my character? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that's not terrible. Beyond like, so I kind of feel like this is going to be bad for my rep as a. I think this is kind of bad for my rep as like someone is to be an aspiring sheriff, like shying away from your sense of duty, right? So I'm kind of okay with that being like that getting around the office, maybe, or like I don't know, something like that.
Well, I mean, what if the sheriff finds out about this?
Oh, perfect. Yes, yeah, I'm totally fine with like the sheriff finding out about this. Yeah, cause the sheriff's gonna find out. Like, who was first in the scene? Oh, it was like Detective Buckerbridge, and like, well, where are they? What happened? Like, oh, they just like take Jay home. I'm totally fine with that being I like that being a plot point. Some friction between me and the sheriff.
All right, well, because we can make this really easy, and the sheriff arrives because it's the first murder that's happened probably in 10 years. And so the sheriff is pulling up as you're pulling away.
Yes, yeah, perfect. Are you fine with this, Jay?
Yeah, that's all cool with me.
So now the sheriff is doing the crane neck.
I love it. I can't wait for the sheriff and Missy to talk. That's only going to go well for me.
And yeah, at this point, Missy arrives, and of course, Mathara has witnessed a complete rejection of duty.
Yeah.
And what appears to be the crumbling of the county sheriff's department.
Well, I see another 2 cars pull up. One
Yes.
of them, it seems to be the sheriff.
Yeah, and the sheriff's in a patrol car with a deputy.
Great.
I'm definitely in a Hummer. I mean, as blinged out Hummer as they had at the rent-a-car place.
Yeah, I'm still leaning against the van. I'm like pretty cold actually.
I'll get out and come over and have my ubiquitous other thing of coffee. And it's got, I went ahead and bought for the real plasticky insulated thing to Mathara. And I come up and hand you this. You look like you're chilled to the bone.
Thank you, ma'am.
What happened?
The drones. Well, I don't. Do you want to look at it?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. I like gesture to Bobby because I think I don't know. I think they took one of our like tablets because Buck took it, and I think he handed it off to like Francis or something. So that's probably like evidence. So then we have another one, and I'm like, well, here it is. That's the body.
And I'll watch, and you probably see on my face that, recognizing a murder scene. So
Yeah.
I do blanch a bit, but it's not like I go, oh my goodness, or anything.
Yeah.
And
I'm like watching you pretty carefully. Like if you need to sit down, like I was gonna like.
Yeah, she seems like she moves through that. May not be the first murder she's seen in her career, sort of thing. Or
yeah, I think I look a little impressed.
And just as quick as can be, out of her pocket, she pulls a flash drive, pops it in there, and makes sure to yank that footage. And the flash drive just disappears back in the pocket.
That's happening as the sheriff is arriving. So at this point, this is going to be a can you get the data before the sheriff intervenes.
Ooh.
And this is a satiate roll. So I'm assuming because why are you doing this? That's the question.
Well, I'm doing this because it may be leverage in the future, and I'm absolutely certain that Megatainment will want me to send this information in.
Yeah, and so you're doing it for the good of the company.
Yeah.
In that case, it's not a satiate. Are you rising or falling?
How do I decide that?
If you got an arc or lost an arc, which I don't think that's happened. I think you're still flat.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. So in that case, this is a rally. You're rallying behind the company to protect them. That's a morality roll.
Oh, good. So I rolled 2, add my morality.
Yeah.
Gosh in heaven.
Can I?
We're never going to do chapter 1.
Help me.
There is really no way to help. Oh yeah.
Can I spend a plot point or something?
You can spend a plot point and take narrative control.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. But that means we'll also never move past this. Whatever. It's fine. I'm going to spend a plot point. Yeah, I think how it happens is like I see you like doing that. Apparently I'm also very amoral. Well, actually that makes sense statistically because I have -1 in moral. I like see what you're doing and I step in front of you like as you're like putting it away and I say sheriff. And I think they just like see me and like I'm holding the tablet and I'm like handing it to them. So then I think she just like takes it and like doesn't catch what you were doing and nobody did. Maybe I'm very tall or something.
That's why you earn the big bucks.
Yeah, Louise Ramirez. Okay. Yeah, which you still lose an arc though, Missy, because you failed to roll, but because she paid a plot point, the outcome worked out.
Okay, so
also at this point, since you have narrative control, Thara, you can introduce other plot elements or whatever you want into the scene that applies to this situation.
And so I would put an X into the -1 box. Is that what would happen? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to say that because for some reason the investigation procedure seems to be a little interesting in this town. I'm going to say that the Sheriff Louise actually lets me on the scene.
Okay.
And I'm like, I have experience with like in the field with deaths before. I've investigated cases before. I don't know if it's true or not, but and then like I could offer to help.
Yeah,
I promise I won't get in the way. And it's like, yes.
We'll use the plot point that you spent as a fiat to move us into the next chapter because you have broken the law in order to protect the company. And this is a murder. So we can call that an uncomfortable situation. So the next chapter is the call. So the point of this chapter is to refuse the call of what's going on. I'm going to use a fiat here too, because I think that our officer Buck has already done that. So we're going to go ahead and skip that, which should catch us up on the time frame for the. And by the way, I do have to skip chapters sometime. This isn't necessarily a weird thing because what happens in the narrative. So we're going to go on to chapter 3, the meeting, because the call was refused. The call is about dealing with moving it to an uncomfortable position and then refusing to do it. We actually had 2 of those. So the next one is the meeting. This is about the characters gathering all of the information they need to confront whatever the ordeal is going to be. And once you're prepared and you make a move where you cross the threshold into confronting the ordeal. So this is the investigation of the crime, all of that. And the goal of this chapter is to cross the threshold and confront the ordeal. So at the beginning of the chapter, everybody gets a plot point. And since Mathara was the one that moved the chapter forward, all of her protagonists get a +1 arc. Also, Mathara, you get a +1 arc as well.
Oh, okay. I don't have a protagonist, but can I declare one?
Yeah. This is a good
I'll declare Missy to be my protagonist.
Okay. All right, so Missy, you get a +1 arc. All your antagonists get a -1 arc. Are there any?
Okay, so that's just Jay.
All right. Okay, and you can't be flat ever again. You're either rising or falling once you've started getting arcs or losing them. All right, so good. We have our arcs. We have the big thing for chapter 2. Now we need to figure out chapter 2's motivation. Oh, actually, we're in chapter 3 now. What is chapter 3's motivation for you? And now that we know what's going on, kind of now we can fine-tune the motivations to be a specific experience you want your character to have. And then we'll play out protagonists and antagonists in the scene as it happens. So we'll do that, and we'll take a break and move on to chapter 3. Whew. Well, we only got an hour. I don't know if this game works in one-shots very well.
And to move over, we have to succeed at a thing, right? That's how we move it over.
Right.
And that 1 die mechanic, or 2 take the lowest, that's a hard hitter.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. And it's to create drama. So the problem is with the one-shots, it doesn't work very well. Every time I try to do a one-shot, we end up having to do another session,
Yeah, I don't think we've done a successful roll, though, yet. We haven't hit a 10 yet, have we?
I had 1 successful roll in the very beginning, and that was it.
I got an 8 once.
My high was a 5.
So I have my motivation for this one.
Okay, great.
It's to get my keys from Jay.
Okay. It'd be really funny if you can keep it on the key during the entire novel. That would be hilarious.
It makes sense though. Like, it feels really incriminating. Even though it's just Joel being a dick, but still.
There are some mix-ups in the conflicts. I think all of these are going to stay, though, because they're all still relevant. We have Joel as a jerk. We don't know why he took the key still. Creepy empty lot. We don't know what the deal is with that. The company is a source of conflict. Obviously, Joel being dead. I think the fact that it's Joel, it can go off the list because we've already dealt with that. And sense of duty.
So I would remove Joel from my like antagonist thing as well, right?
Oh, that's only for other player characters.
Okay, my bad.
That's all right. I don't think I was clear about that. All right. So let's take a couple minutes to figure out your motivations, and if you need a bio break, it's a good time.
All right, yeah, I'll take a minute here, and I have come up with my motivation, so I'll tell it when we get back.
Okay, great.
I have a question about his motivations. Like oh, thank you, muted. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Where should I be? I guess I have two questions. Where should I be pitching them in terms of like specificity, and where should I pitch them in terms of like player knowledge versus character knowledge? So I was thinking like an obvious one for Buck is like who killed Joel, but then I'm not sure if I should sort of be more specific and say like why did blank kill Joel, or like sort of hook in some suspicions I have.
It can be pretty specific. The function of a motivation is who's helping you and who's against you.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, you could have a very specific motivation, and unbeknownst to somebody else, they're in the way of that. Like, I really need a good cup of coffee. You know, somebody's like, no, we're not going to stop at Dunkin' Donuts. They're an antagonist, you know, even though they don't know they are, you know. So you can get pretty specific. But it is something your character wants. So you might have meta reasons for having the motivation, but the motivation needs to be in the narrative.
Perfect. Figure it out now. Oh, I'm really feeling the tear between like the duty, like my need to protect and my desire to do my job.
Yeah,
Right now.
The job, as it turns out, is second fiddle.
Oh. Oh man.
It's such a struggle on one shot. I've run into this before. If the dice go wrong, it makes the story interesting, but it doesn't make it longer. So I would like to do a series where it's basically a session per chapter. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. I was thinking I would, again, like going back to that thing of like I really want to play this again over like a longer series and like sort of Langer and like all the, what I love about sort of these kinds of Fargo-esque movies are like the real like mundane moments that sort of really contrast like all of the high drama. And I think
I think there's a lot of room for that if you're not bound by time.
Oh, totes.
When we played Godfather, it was sort of the last game of the night, so we just played as long as we wanted.
Oh, cool.
But every time I've done it in a one-shot setting, I really probably need to figure out how to do a one-shot version of it.
I'm finding the same with co-author game Girl Underground with Jesse Russ, and same problem because you can spend so long setting up the world and then trying to create like a fairy tale within a one shot where you've got like a cohesive, like, let's meet everyone, like, let's explore the world, and then like the final drama. It's just hitting that in a 4-hour game is a nightmare.
Hello.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, I know that you said that this is, excuse me, based off of like the format of like literary novels. So the murder is not like a huge part of it. It's just kind of like a driving force, I guess.
Yeah, it's a background. It's a setting.
Okay. Well, my question was like, can I still investigate anyway?
Yeah, right.
Because
it's supposed to give you a playground to work in, but it's about your motivations, not about the murder.
Okay.
So obviously motivations are going to be tied into the murder, in this case, but that doesn't have to be what your character's after. And remember, you have plot points. So if you want to be involved in the murder or, know what's going on with it, you can use those to get narrative control. Yeah, I think the specific role is that you, how's it phrased exactly? Introduce a story element or an NPC. The story element might be, I'm the one that shot him,
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to go that way, you can.
Okay. Yeah, I've changed my motivation, so.
Okay.
Once again, I just want to make sure I'm clarified up. Now, that disadvantage mechanic isn't 3 take the worst 2. It is 2 and just take the 1 and add your stat to.
It's 3 take the worst 2.
We've been it was 2 and then take 1.
On that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I left.
That may have been my bad. I may have, because you know what happened? I was playing Tiny D6 recently, and I might have those mechanics in my head, so I may have told you the wrong thing.
I think when you had said take 1, because you said take 1, and I think you were probably implying take 1 off, that take the lowest off.
Yeah.
And we were all rolling 2 and taking the lowest of the 2 roll, 1 die, and adding our mechanic.
You get 2 die, but on an advantage you can pick the highest 2. On a disadvantage you pick the lowest 2.
With 3
I probably still failed every time, but I'm not only the worst detective, I'm the worst at math.
So sorry. That might explain why it went sideways.
Now mine was with 2 dice and not going at the disadvantage. I just sucked. But I do think that may have caused some of our problems there.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I blame Alan Barr and Tiny D6 because I was literally just playing that, and I think that was in my head. That happens when I play like Call of Cthulhu and then move on to World of Darkness. So I'm always like mixing up the. Anyway, okay. So we're all back. We have an hour left, so we'll try to get this done. If it doesn't get done, that's fine. But we have a good time anyway. So the investigation, we have the CSI there. The cops are leaving. The sheriff is present. The sheriff is pretty excited that you had gotten this footage and that you have all of this technology. So she's invited you onto the crime scene. So you meet Terry and Francis. Francis is still wearing, his civilian clothes. He didn't really have time to get into uniform. And Terry was on duty. So they're investigating, but investigating meaning they're like crouching and looking at the body.
Oh boy.
And kind of like, talking about exit wounds, but they're really just filling in space. They don't know what to do, clearly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to request for basically whole body, like the things that they wear that's like no contamination thing, the decontamination suit or whatever, so that we don't get our DNA on the scene.
Well, they have gloves. I mean, now it's cold out, so everybody has gloves. But
no, the gloves. No. My heart is crying.
Sheriff Ramirez is like, no, we don't have a lot at the department. We just make do with what we have. It's she's just sort of staring at the bodies. I haven't seen anything like this.
Okay. I take I guess one of the 2 rubber gloves from that dispenser container, like Kleenex, and I snap them on, and then I take the face mask, I put it on, and I take out my toque and I put it in my hair, I put it on so that my hair is all in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, right. And then I take off these gloves and put on new ones. Because I just touched my hair.
And they're taking pictures. Right. I just wondered about that, and I'm glad you caught it. They're taking pictures, but they're not really interacting with the body.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go and investigate the body. I'm trying to not be very close to it, even though I have a mask on, but I kind of want to see what they were saying, entry and exit wounds. Whenever they're done taking the pictures, I want to see so was he shot or?
Yeah, he was shot for sure, and it was from behind.
Okay.
It looks like he had been running away from the road.
Okay.
And he was shot from behind. So you can easily triangulate that whoever did it from the road.
Oh, okay.
It was a couple 100 yards, so it would have had to been a rifle, something like that. It would have had to be able to target. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see what's going on now. What's your motivation about? Why are you participating in the investigation?
Yeah, so my motivation for this one is find out why Joel took my keys. And I feel like there's something about because he's like a dick, but taking someone's keys is really different from just other things that are terrible. It's very invasive, and I keep on feeling like he was going to use my IDs to do something, like the swipe cards, because swipe cards are they're connected to your employee account, whatever, ID. So, and I feel so he took it and now he's dead. So everything, it's just looks so bad on me. And I guess I'll start rifling his pockets too. if no one stops me, which I don't think they will.
And if possible, Missy has, if they're not stopping me, I would have waited for them to go and then just sort of slowly been walking along behind. And my phone is in my hand and it's recording, but I'm not like holding it up, obviously. I'm someone who's in the past had to record things quietly. You know, you've got to do that sometime in the business. So it's not obvious, but I'm making sure to record how poor this police department is.
Yeah. So do I find the keys in the pockets?
Well, it all depends. I want to know. Okay, I understand you want to find out what's going on with the keys, and but why? Is it because of your own protection, or is it because of you are concerned about the company, or is it because you're, you know, is it because you want to get a leg up?
I don't want to get framed.
You don't want to get framed. Okay, so this is.
I don't want to get pulled into this.
All right, so this is a satiate roll. You're rolling instinct to make sure you're taking care of a need to not be framed.
Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm protecting myself.
Yeah.
True. Okay. All right, dice, don't fail me. Oh, okay. Okay, that's a 6 plus
instinct.
Instinct. Oh, that's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, so you do find the keys, but you also find the keys to several other employees, including Missy.
I like, before I take it out, and I'm just gonna assume that I know that Missy is recording. I feel like Missy and I have a really trusting relationship. I feel that there's something, and I look inside the pockets, and I'm like, oh, okay. I see mine, and then I see Missy's, and I just like turn around to look at her, and then like glance really briefly down at the phone to be like, don't record this part.
All right, so Missy, you're gonna have to roll to see if you caught that. So this is gonna be a little tricky.
All right.
What's your motivation for recording?
My motivation for recording is, let's see, and I'm in falling, so
you can use either flat or falling moves. Oh, we forgot to tie it to a conflict. I keep forgetting to do that. I mean, the conflict obviously is murder. We could use the one that you just resolved, though, would have been. I'm sorry, just one sec. Let me. You were probably confronting Joel as a jerk, right? With Ara?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that conflict is out of play for now, because you've resolved it. You don't know why he's a jerk, but you've resolved where your keys are, and that he took them. All right. So anyway, let's go back to you, Missy. Sorry. Your motivation for recording?
My reason for recording is, as far as moves go, it's to condemn. I'm trying to rally these town folks to believe that at this point, my angle is, hey, if we can get this going on here and bring all this money in, we can actually get you professional police.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is actually, the conflict is the company.
Okay.
And the role is condemn, which is morality.
Okay. All right. So I'm rolling. And this doesn't have anything to do with a protagonist or antagonist.
No.
Well, I don't know.
No, you're rolling against the... oh, well, you're rolling... Yeah, you're right, because it's her trying to signal to you. So this would be in support of her. So you would be rolling with a favor.
Okay.
The highest two.
Gotcha. Let me add one more die. And then I'll roll all three. Oh, a 5 finally. Nice. All right. Rerolling. Take the highest 2. All right. That's a 12.
Finally. Yay. Okay. This means you get +1 arc. You also have complete narrative control with regards to this conflict, and the conflict is resolved. We're not. This isn't a chapter. I don't see that we're moving into the threshold, but at least the conflict is resolved. That means we can't use company for this chapter anymore.
Okay, and I picked up on what she was saying. So I've turned that camera, to where it's just looking down at my leg. And I don't think I was recording sound. It would have been, I mean, it's windy and out here across the plain, so there was no way it was picking up sound anyway.
Oh,
so
but I didn't say anything, though. I only looked at you and looked down on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But with that, I'm hoping with that role, were you trying to convey don't record it?
Yeah, I was.
I think I probably caught that. So I have, I turned the camera away from recording towards my feet.
Sweet. I think we are both antagonists of this story.
Is there anything else you want to introduce with regards to this conflict for the story as a whole? Because you have narrative control. You're the game master right now.
Okay.
Well, no.
Oh.
Missy is, because she won the role.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think that as you're going through the pockets and you've kind of rolled him over, and the police are standing there, I think that they're so unused to seeing this sort of thing that they immediately are kind of, the two forensics have moved down and they're actually looking at the body, checking. Because, I mean, if it was a rifle blast at that distance, it's probably a really messy exit wound. The sheriff, it's kind of does this sort of look away at that moment, as when you rolled him over, a business card, fell out of his pocket as well. And you get your hand on top of it before any of them notice it and slide it back.
Sure. Do I also take the keys, all of them, including yours?
I would love for you to, and if we think
that was my intention, was for you to not record while I took all these important pieces of evidence.
Right, if we think we could sneak it by him, then yeah, I think you probably.
I open my backpack.
How about, instead of my whole set of keys, because that doesn't quite fit our narrative, it's definitely my company card.
Yeah,
my slide card. Does that sound good to you, Agatha? Well, I think you froze.
Oh, yeah, I'm good with it.
Cool. All right. So I think that might be the more important thing he was after, rather than like my car keys for the house or something.
All right. So that's going on. In the meantime, our two cops where are you? Are you back to the station? Are you going back to the house? Where are you going?
Where do you want to go, Drake? I will drive you anywhere.
I mean, I don't need to go anywhere. I need to, find out who killed Joel. I can't do that at home.
I have a plot idea in mind, just to sort of loop some stuff in. If that's cool. So I'm happy to spin plot points to introduce a thing.
Please do.
Okay, and I think I finally get this game. So I think I've got the loop right. So I think this probably happens maybe, I don't know. I guess I can drive you back to the station. I was trying to figure out. We're driving to the station, I think, if you're cool with that. And I think this is again on the drive there. It's quite quiet. Buck isn't sure what to say to you, because he's not sure how to communicate with humans. So he's kind of keeping quiet but giving you a side eye to make sure that you're okay, and just to check in to see if you're holding up. And I think as he's driving, I kind of want him to have is it appropriate for him to have kind of an epiphany or that kind of thing to sort of piece a thing together?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what plot points are for. That means you're in control of the story.
Yeah, so I think we're driving there, and you just hear Buck say oh shit, and shake his head a bit, and then look to Jay and say, I was racking my brain all day trying to think about who else was interested in that empty lot up, by the way. I think Councilman Schneider was asking about the Rickards a couple weeks back.
You think Schneider did it?
I mean, he's a smart guy. If he did it, he had someone else do it. But this isn't good. You know, him and the sheriff are tight.
And I know the sheriff's going to want me off the case because it's my brother, but you've got to let me stay on this.
Can I just say yes, or do I thing?
Only if it's. I mean, if it's something your character would not want, then that's when we have to get to the dice.
I guess like he's feeling a bit conflicting. His motivation is to just get through the day without being distracted by Jay, and having Jay around is inherently distracting.
So yeah, then it's a roll because that's not what you want.
But I want it. I also don't want it. I don't want it. Yeah.
Well, motivation's pretty clear.
Yeah.
All right. So, are you rising or falling?
I'm super falling. So
okay, you can enforce your will if you choose to go that way, or
you
can just do navigate others.
Oh, I'm still allowed to do the flat moves?
You can still do the flat moves. When you want to guide somebody's plus personality, or if you just basically want to force him to allow you through some sort of intimidation or blackmail or something like that. That's enforce your will. So it's up to you. You've seen some shit today. You're not in your best head. You could go darker, or you could condemn and force other people to force him to do what you want.
So the defining thing for me here is if I lay on just like the heaviest guilt trip ever, is that navigate others or is that enforce your will?
That's enforce your will because you're doing it in a malicious way. Yeah,
because I'm resentful when I'm falling.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
And this is against a protagonist, right? Are you protagonist still? Well, we can argue that because you want something that he does not. And you are getting in the way of his motivation.
True. He tried to send me home, and I've got to find the killer. So.
Yeah, so that might mean that he's your antagonist, in which case you get the highest of 2 dice.
But I love you.
Woo. Okay, so that's an 11.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh.
To guilt. Right. So yeah, Joel has been looking kind of sad and defeated and stuff, and he's like, no, come on, I've supported you through everything. I've done my best to try to help your campaign for sheriff. I need this. You have to let me have this.
And you'll get a +1 arc for conceding.
Which I definitely do. Oh yeah, I like to think this conversation happens like we come to a slow stop, like in the car, right, and let's like pull off to the side to have this discourse about like sheriff did this, and, like, you've got to let me do this, man. And I think it's a long silence as Buck meets your gaze, and then I think he, without saying anything, like cracks the meanest U-turn to like, River, we're going to solve this. Oh, do I kiss you? God damn it, Tyler. No, yeah, I think what happens instead is yes. No, I love that. I love that. Okay, so what happens instead is really long silence as he stares at you, and the silence in the car is like really palpable because there's no outside noise, and he says really quietly, like, well. Yeah, I mean, of course, Jay. Like, I really care about you, and if this is what you got to do, then I'm here to support that.
It sounds like you might, especially if there's some physical interaction here. You are trying to befriend him.
Oh yeah, totally.
And you're rising, right? So you can do that as a personality roll, and which could potentially flip the antagonist.
Our relationship is so complicated. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to befriend Jay. We've had a bit of like a back and forth about duty and what I should be doing. So yes, how do I roll this?
That is a personality roll, and you're rolling against a antagonist, so that means you get favor. So you can roll the highest of 2.
Okay, perfect. I might need that help. Let's clear these. It's 3d6, right? I got a 10.
Okay. Awesome. So that means then you get that means then that
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself.
that means that you get a +1 arc if you become a protagonist. If you want to make him a protagonist. That makes sense, Jay? Right now he's an antagonist. You get a +1 arc to make him a protagonist.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I'm not falling quite so hard then. And you're a protagonist again.
And I think we see this in like I am probably leaning just like a bit uncomfortably close as I say that. Like and you know, it's not like you can sort of feel the you can feel my presence in your space. He really wants to kiss you, but he can't bring himself to.
Theme. Is that where it ends?
I think for the sake of theme, it's gotta like end and cut to the car, you turning, and I don't know. Did they make out? Will they ever make out?
We don't know. Okay. All right. So where are you heading then?
Yeah, where would be a good place to go to dig into Councilman Schneider and his potential thing he's got going with the sheriff? I forget how he did it. What do you think, Jay? You're a better police officer than I am.
I don't think Jay's a better police officer than anyone. This investigation is so compromised. Clearly, we need to like go through Snyder's stuff because probably has evidence.
So you're going to his office.
Yeah, let's go to the office.
Okay.
We don't need a warrant.
So back on the at the scene of the crime, you have stolen evidence. You have tainted the crime scene. What else are you going to do out there?
Well, my objective is, I don't feel like I can find out any more about why Joel stole. Well, actually, I think I did figure that out. I think he was trying to get anyone's. I don't know for what reason, but he probably wasn't actually going to use mine. He was going to use Missy's. So I'm done here. I'm gonna stand up and with.
Did you find out what that business card was?
It was actually a key card. Oh, so there was both a business.
Yeah, there's the mysterious. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. That might be something you could bring back, and we get a dun moment.
Yeah, I stuck it up my sleeve, the sleeve of my jacket. So like that, and I like look at Missy like I'm ready to leave, but you can make the call.
Sheriff, unless there's something else you need from us, I'm sure we're just getting in the way of your very professional investigation here. You're muted, dear.
She's shell-shocked and in the moment and not really paying a lot of attention, obviously. And so when you say that, she kind of gives you a curt nod and goes back to the body, doesn't even really respond. You can tell that it's not the cold. She's lost color in her face. You know, she's only been sheriff for a couple of years. Nothing like this has happened on her watch. and she has no idea what she's doing. So she's too enraptured in the body that it exists to respond. Or
Okay, I'm gonna
Right.
turn to Francis and say, get her a blanket and a hot drink, and then I'll peace out of here
okay.
with our crew.
Okay, so you have this evidence. Where are you going to go?
I think we're gonna go back to the hotel to regroup.
And do you pull out the card as we get into the Hummer? I'll tell the crew, meet us back at the hotel, and
Oh, okay.
as we have you get into the car with me.
Yeah, I want to look at it first myself.
Okay.
Who decided on that plot point? So, like,
That
who?
was
What?
me.
That's
Oh,
Tyler's.
so what is it? Is it yours?
I left it open for you to either turn it around, or I suppose you could get I believe it's a plot point if you throw it out to a writer.
Yeah, I have an answer unless you want to spend a plot point.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, it's Councilman Snyder's card.
Ah. Huh. All right, I show it to Missy.
Why would he have been? He's not supposed to be liaisoning with any of the political structure here. That's supposed to be me.
I wouldn't touch this without gloves, ma'am.
Oh no! You hold on to that.
All right.
We have got to do something about this. Once Wonderflake gets here, we're just going to absolutely have to find a better police department. This is horrible.
I just want to know who killed him.
Oh, and that too. As I drive off.
I'll have you know that the police work was not the author's work. That was the characters.
Yes. It's very Fargo because they were terrible, and other than Frances McDormand, she was great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say anything. I just I think I take out like a Ziploc bag. Maybe I just have one. I don't know. Maybe you have one, like a new one, and then I stick like all of this stuff in there. Actually, no, I take out two and I put them in separate bags.
Well, it could be a freezer bag. I mean,
Yeah, freezer. But I think I actually take out multiple because it's better not to have all your evidence in one bag.
I don't know.
Now I don't know if I was honorably discharged or dishonorably discharged.
Half it in Afghanistan. Okay, so where are you going to head? Then you're at the hotel. The cops are going to Snyder's office
Without a warrant. Well, I guess we don't know that. Yeah, I like turn to you, like Missy, to be like, oh, what do you want to do, kind of thing.
Well, Schneider was sort of my closest contact with their government here, but I'm beginning to think that there's something we're just not understanding yet, Mathara.
Did they say what was going on with this plot and why we can't find out who owns it?
No, and that's very strange. You know, that nice girl at the police office, I bet she would know who's gone in the last couple of weeks. Looking through the records, why don't we ask back?
Should we buy more donuts?
Bear claws. Nothing says help me out like a bear claw.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're going to go to the donut shop. All right, so our cops have gone then to our cops have gone to the council, the city hall, which in Fargo is, I don't know, I haven't been, but I'm guessing a 3-story white building, you know, with lots of windows and kind of boring looking. and so yeah, you can go in. There's a lobby. There's the security where you can check in. There's the audience halls where the public is allowed. There are some public offices. There's even some small businesses that are in there. But his office is, the one that only people allowed to go can go. So, what was this you're saying about a warrant? What do you want to do now that you're here?
Oh, geez. Hadn't thought that through. How about you, Jay?
I guess I can double down on just being the worst cop and be like, everybody likes Jay. Even the judges and stuff like Jay. If he approaches saying, I want a warrant, please, they're like, well, you've got to have a good reason for that. And just kind of rubber stamp it. So we totally swung by to get a warrant. If I spend a plot point for that sort of thing.
You could do a plot point, or you could make a move to I guess it would be navigate others.
Yeah. Or I'm just going to enforce my will on the judiciary as the worst possible option here. But yeah, sure, I could navigate others to try to persuade someone to give me a warrant for Councilman Schneider.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see how that goes. Go ahead and do that.
Oh my god, this is such a bad idea.
All of our ideas are the bad ideas. So I'm just rolling 2d6 then?
Yeah, plus personality.
Cool. That's an 8 because I've got a ton of personality.
Okay, yeah, the judge gives you a warrant he tells you that to have the warrant, he's going to need your support on the campaign for Ramirez's reelection to the sheriff's department. As you know, that's how these things go. Short notice. I'm happy to give you the warrant, but you got to back my horse.
Oh no, the truest conflict of this entire game.
I like to think that I'm not here for this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can just see Jay like kind of blue screen. Oh no, what do I do? What do I do?
This is crunch time, Jay boy. We've gotta.
It's gonna look better if people can't say, "But hey, remember when Buck, broke into the councilman's office without a warrant? So I need the warrant to help his run for sheriff." So it really works out better for him, regardless. So yes, I will support Ramirez's bid for re-election.
Handshake.
Yep.
You have your warrant. All right, so we can go ahead and flash cut to the office. Let's see. I'm about to make a decision here. I have a decision about whether or not. Yeah, do you want to play that out first?
I'm cool to play that out. I think it's interesting ride.
Sure. Well, I think Jay just kind of goes back and he's like, so I got the warrant. Let's go. Sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't need to have any questions. I mean, what did I do for it? I don't know.
And you know what? Buck's response is totally like he lights up when you sort of like slap the warrant down in front of him or whatever, and he's just like, Jay, I could kiss you.
Oh.
Jay is too fueled by justice for kisses right now.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it seriously, obviously. Like, yeah, that's totally
that needs to be quoted and put in the Discord. Too fueled by justice for kisses right now. Okay, so if Schneider is there, whoever wants to confront him can have a plot point. Otherwise, he doesn't have to be there in his office.
Wait, is this? Oh, this is for them too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's for them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you think about that. You get to decide whether or not Schneider is there. If he is, you get a plot point. Okay. Anyway, so you guys are let's go back to this other duo. You are still at the hotel or the motel or whatever, probably a hotel. And you have the evidence. You have Snyder's name. What's your plan? You were wondering about.
We were going to get bear claws and then go talk to Mac.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've arrived at the police station. You have the bear claws, and Mac is delighted to see you.
Oh, Mac, sweetie. I was running by that lovely little bakery they have down there on Main.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you didn't.
Thought of you.
I love bear claws. You know, there's a murder.
We heard.
They have all left because some shot in the head.
Oh my goodness!
Did he have a family? I know he was company, but
who was it?
Joel,
Jay's brother.
I didn't say it.
Oh, and not to cross my mouth. No. Well, since no one's here, I bet you can help me. I was going to ask the sheriff, but I'm sure you know. Heck, we all know you know more than those guys anyway.
Of course. No, we don't like to talk about that.
I'm betting you keep a little log of, well, all the times I've gone into the records. Do you write that down somewhere?
Oh, sure, honey. I have them right here. Let's see. Oh, well, no, the only one in there was you. Just yesterday there was somebody from the from the council, the city council's office. One, Charlene. I don't know her. I wasn't here when she came in, but she works for Snyder. She works for Snyder.
Does she now? And no one else anytime soon but me?
No, it's not that busy in there, you know.
Well, I was just wondering if maybe someone had dropped by to keep, just between me and you. When you work for big corporations, you have to always look out for corporate espionage.
Oh, I shouldn't have told you that. That is private secret. Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm sure.
So sorry. I need to tell the sheriff what I have done just so that everything's on the up and up.
No. Since clearly it's not another corporation, it's just the councilman's assistant. It's not like there was any harm or foul.
But this is not public information. This is our private logs, and I should never have told you. This is my fault. It's okay. I will talk to the sheriff right now, and she's pulling out the radio.
Mac. Why don't we just keep this between us girls?
Okay, so this is a navigate others, or are you? I don't know if you're rising or falling.
I'm rising at the moment.
So you could try to befriend, which would mean sort of a long-term, we're just the girls kind of thing.
I think we'll do the navigate other. It's going to end up being same role either way, but I think it seems more genuine than me attempting to, I don't think Missy, she has no ill intent in this at all. So it's not like she's trying to lead Mac on and any sort of thing like that. So yeah, I think I'll go with that's a personality roll. I'm not great at that.
Can I help or no?
You can if you can make it narratively work, and what that means then will be you will he can get a favor. She can get a favor.
Yeah. How would I help? I think because we just offered her one of their bear claws, I'm just gonna put all of them down on the table.
Okay, so this is also a navigate others. So if you succeed, then that means Missy will get favor.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 12.
Okay. All right. That means then you have narrative control on Missy's reaction to the donuts and anything that might relate to that in particular. And I have to be very tight on it because we also have Missy's role coming up. You also get +1 arc.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think she's just. I don't think she really notices that it's me who's putting it down. I don't think I think her eyes are just like glued to that, and then when it's put all down on like the desk right where she is, she like doesn't touch it, but you can see that she's just waiting until everyone is gone, so then she can like really dig into it, and like that need almost is like she's just like, okay, like whatever, that's fine, I'll just leave.
Okay, so then that means, Missy, you get a favor on your roll.
Okay, so that means rolling with advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I needed it, and that's rolling with personality, so that gives me a 9 because I don't have any personality.
Okay. She's so engrossed in the donuts, the bear claws. Sorry, excuse me. That she kind of forgets why she had the radio up, and then she remembers and she says, "Oh,
I mean, just between us girls."
Okay, I'll let this go, but I'm a little concerned about what is going on here. What with the murder? So I'm going to have to ask that you stay out of there because I don't want your name on this list today. So don't
no
go
problem at all.
Okay.
No problem. No problem. Mac, you're a dear. Thank you.
Okay. Just go along now. She's like taking the box.
Excellent. And, I think we'll beat it.
She reacts. You know, she gets a kick and she kind of reacts, and baby's happy. There's some donuts coming.
All right. So we head out. As I look over and I think it's pretty clear that this councilman, I don't know why, but I have to think that he might have killed Joel.
And this is where I fell down as a novelist because I think we crossed the threshold back during getting the warrant. But I like where the scene ended, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next chapter. Cool. But this is because of Jay's move. I have to pay attention more as novelists. I get too wrapped up in the story and I forget about the machine. And I'm like, oh wait, we have to work on this. Okay, so we're going to move right into the ordeal, which is skipping a chapter because we only have 30 minutes. And I think the narrative works because we're going to go into the cave, which is the literary term for going to confront the ordeal. Obviously, the ordeal is Snyder has murdered somebody. So this chapter is about confronting that, and then before you take the road back, which concludes the story. All of the characters are converging onto Schneider's office, and so whether or not he's there or not is sort of in the balance because I have offered a plot point to put him there. So now everybody gets another plot point, and also you get a new motivation for this chapter, and then we can jump right in.
So am I the character who resolved the last chapter?
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that part. So you get a +1 arc. All of your protagonists get a +1 arc, and all your antagonists get a -1 arc.
I don't have any antagonists, and my only protagonist is Buck because I'm kind of running my own story here.
All right.
So somehow by being fueled by justice, I have now started rising, and I'm not resentful anymore.
Nice. All right. Does everybody have a motivation? Cool. All right. So, Buck, is Schneider there in the office?
I mean, he's gotta be right.
All right. You get a plot point if that's the
Alright.
case.
I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'm happy I have it. We'll see.
So, all right. So you come into the office, and at this point, Missy and Mathara come in to the lobby. So you will need to figure out how to get past the security up to the councilman's office. But before that happens, let's start with the office. So how do you come in? So he's in there at his desk. He has a secretary. The secretary is doing the very typical do you have an appointment, kind of thing, typing away at the computer, probably playing on Facebook and not really doing anything else. Might not be a secretary, could be an aide.
Yeah, I mean, I totally approaching the aid, right? Like, Buck has this warrant out, right? Like, she can't read it. But he's like, we got an appointment with Schneider.
You say, I don't think he had any appointments today. Is there something wrong? She's observing. She knows that you're police. I'm assuming. Did you show a badge?
Oh yeah, he'll flash his badge. Yeah, that's right. I forget that I'm not in uniform. He'll flash his. He'll do the whole like cool like thing of his.
Oh, okay.
Badge,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, and she. Do we know Schneider's name?
I don't think we established that.
Oh, I suddenly have to come up with a name. Trenton. We'll do Trenton.
Trenton's good.
Trenton, there's some police are here, and at that point, there's no response. So then she shouts louder, and there's still no response. So, well, maybe he went out. And she goes back to typing on Facebook.
And I think, is it clear to my character that he is in there? Like, or am I not sure if he's in there or not?
You're not sure.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah. In that case, I think he I don't think he doesn't slam the warrant down. That's too aggressive. But I think he places it on the desk, and says, "Ma'am, we need to get into Councilman Schreider's office. Official police business, ma'am."
Okay. Well, getting doors open.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think we'll hit in there, sort of push the door open, not cautiously, just we'll. And then I think he'll hold the door open for Jay.
The window's open and a blizzard has begun to descend, and a bunch of snow is pouring into the office.
Ah, shit! Who tipped? I think he turns to Jay and he's like, "Who tipped that motherfucker off?"
So in the lobby, as you are approaching the security desk, you hear sort of a thumping sound outside. And there is a man in the suit running through the blizzard down the street.
I'll look over at Athara. I think Councilman Schneider just climbed down that drainage pipe.
Okay. I turn around and I book it out of there.
And I'm impressed as you're, running in, just running off after this potential murder. And, I think I kind of a chase and I just, and start running after you. My Uggs making tracks through the snow.
Okay. What do you want to get out of chasing him? What are you trying to accomplish?
I'm gonna tackle him for a citizen's arrest because that's a thing, right?
And
I bet it is in this town.
but why are you doing that? What's your reason for doing that?
I don't want him to run away. He's the one who's responsible for Joel's murder.
So you're doing this out of a social justice.
No, if he runs away, then the suspicion might fall on me.
Okay. Yeah, that's more to the point of what I'm getting. See, in this game, it isn't about what you're doing, but why.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, I need him to, like, take the fall. I mean, partly because he is responsible, and I don't want that to, like, come on me. Because I also stole evidence, so.
Are you falling right now?
With me? Yes.
No, Mathara.
I'm rising.
You're rising. Okay. So this is a moment where you're describing through the narrative a falling move. Because you are selfishly enforcing your will because it's about you.
Yeah.
By trying to capture this guy. So that means then you need to pay a plot point to switch your arc.
Sure. Does that mean?
Otherwise, you'll need to find another way to do it. So and the conflict you're confronting is murder, probably.
So that doesn't count as protecting myself, which I'm cool with.
Well, that's an interesting question. The language is talking about resolving a conflict using violence.
Oh.
So if you want to, versus stopping yourself from getting hurt.
Oh, so I'm lashing out.
Yeah, so you're protecting yourself can work if you weave that into the narrative somehow. Otherwise, the interesting thing about the arc flip is that you know it can be that you are so scared this is going to come down on you. You go to drastic measures.
Sure, I'm down for that.
Or it's you protect yourself because you're concerned that this might come down on you. That might mean that you're going to resolve the conflict in a different way than, say, tackling him and taking him down. It's up to you. But one way requires a plot point.
Okay. And if I spend the plot point so that it's falling, would I become like -1? Because I'm at +2 right now. So how does that work?
Oh, so you have 2 plot points. So you could just spend 1.
Oh, I mean for my arc.
Oh, for your arc.
So I'm at +2.
It means you're at -1, not -2. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll spend the plot point so that I am, because I want to tackle him.
And no matter the outcome, you have complete narrative control because you're spending a plot point.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I pick it out of there, like doing like the Tom Cruise run, and I like fly tackle him so that we both like slide on like, ooh, that sounds really painful actually.
Well, before you narrate the outcome, let's see what happens with the roll. Because it might go south.
Oh, that's a thing.
So you're rolling plus your
6
personality. Or
6 plus 1. Oh yeah. 6 plus 2 is 8.
Okay.
That's an 8.
So there's a success but a caveat, and you have complete narrative control.
Okay. What is the caveat? Should I include that or?
Yeah, I would include it. Just something that inhibits your character's story.
Okay.
And it's entirely up to you. You are now the game master, and I'm going to put myself on mute. You get a total reins.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I tackle him, but so it's like, let's say like he's running on the sidewalk. So when I tackle him, he like slides on the sidewalk, and it's just like filled with like, there's just like all this like salt there, and it like scrapes up his face, and I think I like tackle him really hard. So let's say that it just like he looks really bad, and then I just like really violently like knee his back, and then like pull up his arms, and then like behind him, and like press it down, and then he's like, I think he starts crying. He's like, ah, and it's hard for people to make out what he's saying, and then like maybe there's like also some like dirty snow that's just like rubbing up against his mouth, and it's like frozen over again, so then it's like really, it's like ice basically, and he's just like, he looks like beat the crap out of him, even though, to be honest, I only tackled him for a citizen's arrest. But like all these people like are coming out of the shops like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Oh my gosh. And then like all these people are gathering around. And then someone's like, hey, what are you doing?
At that point, the cops come out.
Yeah.
But I assume you're pursuing the fact that he went out the window, right?
Yeah, and so then that's when I'm like, citizens arrest, even though I don't actually know if that's a thing.
Okay. There is Missy, your colleague, has.
Oh, I'm excited as all get out. This is just wonderful. You don't get this in the boardroom most of the time. So I'm following along behind, and I imagine that Missy probably does that sort of, it's icy, so it's kind of those little short steps, trying to, make sure she doesn't slide, but running as fast as she can as she comes up there. And I don't know if I need to spin the plot point. I need to create a conflict. Do I need to create a conflict so I could do a move?
Unless there's a conflict that makes sense right now. Right now, the conflicts on the table are, murder was just resolved because you succeeded. So there's winter, creepy empty lot, and sense of duty are the conflicts in play right now. If none of those work, you can create one with a plot point.
I'm creating a plot point, so I'll spin that, and as I come running up there, and I'm creating the conflict of, is it a conflict to do confession, forced confession?
So the conflict is,
I'm trying to make him confess.
Well, that's the outcome. So the conflict is that he's not confessing.
Right.
So
would it be what, not confessing, or
let's call it interrogation? Which
okay,
no idea how to spell that, but well, I did.
Right. As I come running up there to him, and I've got our baggies of evidence that we collected, and as I come running up to him, I'm like, why did you kill Joel? We know you did it. Just tell us. It'll go easier on you, because I've seen that on TV, even though I have no ability whatsoever to enforce that. But I'm trying to catch him in this moment of weakness to get him to confess.
Okay, so you are, and why? That's the question.
Why? Yes. Why do I? Let's see. Off of my moves, I'm making a moral stand. This was wrong. One of our employees got killed. They're doing all of this to stop the company. This is wrong, and this place is very badly policed.
All right, so roll make a moral stand. Now you have narrative control because you spent a plot point, no matter how it turns out.
All right, so I'm rolling. I won't get to roll with favor because it's not anything to do with an antagonist.
Right. It's just it's just morality.
That's a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question comes in. I have a good bit of plot points. Do I want to re-roll off of a 9?
You can, and that means you would need to tie it into your motivation.
Well, that works because I get Snyder to admit his guilt and shame the council into improving my land by. So it's exactly my motivation. The worry is that I may fail to get better than a 9. So I think I'm going to take the conflicted result.
Okay. All right. And it's all you. You got the plot.
All right. So Mathara has him pulled back, and kind of has that knee in his back, and he's got the salt in his wounds on his face as he goes, he just wouldn't let it go. He just wouldn't let it go. I told him the land rights there were mine. Once they find out how much oil is under there. I'm gonna be. And he looks around, realizing what he's saying. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. I need a lawyer. Who are you anyway? And I think that, you know, the townspeople are coming, but the snow is beating down. So really the only people other than Mathara and I that hear it are Jay and Buck as they come running up.
So they're the only two that hear that confession?
Only two that managed to hear the confession.
That's your mixed result. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Jay and Buck, what now?
Well, for what it's worth, I think like Buck did that movie thing of like when he realized the counselor gone out the window, said like, oh shit, and like, you know, as you do in a movie, shed your coat because like it's hard to get squeezed out of a window. So he's probably just got his suspenders and then like his white shirt on, right? So it's like really like not appropriate for being outside. That's what he's wearing. How does Jay into the scene?
Jay probably had to do the same thing. He probably had one of those parkas with like the faux fur ruff and everything because you know it's cold out and you know big gloves and everything, and pulled those off. And I assume that he's also in like the suspenders and shirt and tie and whatnot because you gotta look professional when you're a cop, exactly. Even if you're really bad at being a cop. And so there's like steam coming out as he's, you know, talking because it's cold out.
And what do you say to this guy who's like just confessed to kind of killing his brother?
I'm immediately just going for the, you know, you're under arrest, you Mirandize and everything. I'm gonna roughly handcuff him while he's still got his face down in the snow.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm pretty impressed. That, like, I like move over when you're like handcuffing him. I'm like, huh? Because I expected you to punch him, but you didn't. So it's like, oh.
I'm gonna punch him with justice.
I pat you on the back and step away.
All right. Well, I think that kind of resolved itself, actually. So let's go ahead and just move really quickly into the, now we have just a couple minutes left, into the final chapter, which is the road back. If you are rising, that means that you will determine what your heroic fate is in this story and narrate what that is. If you are falling, you'll need to narrate what your tragic end is. And then that will conclude the novel. So who wants to go first? I see some funny facial expressions. We'll see how this goes.
I'm just going, oh no, only Mathara is falling and I want her to be okay.
Yeah, this is also, it's kind of confusing that, well, whatever. Because I was like, huh. Like, why? What
you
would
were
be
the
my
hero?
Yeah,
I think,
at what cost?
Yeah, I think I was arrested.
Yeah.
And I think basically the company sold me and was like, oh yeah, she was the one who like took all of those. Like I was arrested for, you know, tampering with a crime scene and like as like person of interest. And I think you like let me take the fall as well, Missy. So
so the worst fears came true. You worried that your identity was stolen, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you worried that you're incriminated, and you were.
Mm-hmm.
It was a complete failure of justice.
Yeah,
even though you got the bad guy.
Yeah, but I think like, well, Tyler, you can say if that happened or not. Like, I think you like come to visit me, and you're like, I will get you the best lawyer or something like that, or the company will get you the best lawyer, and I just like. I like look at the sunlight through the bars.
I guess we'll leave the police for last, as I'll do mine. I do think that yeah, I'll cut directly from that scene where we're getting you the very best lawyers. Don't worry, you'll be out of here in no time. This is nothing. It's going to be fine. And as I step out of the room, I'm pulling up my phone You know, I'm calling, and you know, you hear me, you know, bring the whole team down here. This is ridiculous. No, we're no. Oh, well, yes, we're absolutely buying the land. Oh, yeah, please start escrow immediately. Oh, and the lawyers, yes, get them here too. And as she's stalking out, she sees, you know, leaving the jail. She walks by Mac, and she, as she's walking by, she says, "Mac, dear, there's going to be an election for sheriff, right?"
Oh yeah, it's well underway.
It's not against the election rules to run from jail now, is it?
Well, I'm no lawyer, but I don't recall there being any sort of statute against that.
And posters, lots of posters. As she walks out.
Okay, so the cops. How do you resolve?
Well, I have an idea.
What is your idea?
Oh, okay. Because I like the idea. Oh, I don't know. Is that too cheesy? Oh yeah, no, that satisfies like what we set up fictionally and what I want to do. Okay, so I think like this is like just after the sheriff like election results have been announced or whatever.
Oh my goodness, we're flashing forward.
Or maybe no, I don't know. It's at some point in time. Maybe it's like as like it's probably as like nominations are going through and stuff. And I think like in my mind, Buck and Jay are sitting at their desks like working away, and like Mac like spawns over and is like, "Oh, like Buck, I saw that you didn't put your name forward for like sheriff, like running for sheriff. Like I thought you always wanted to do that. Isn't that like your like dream aspiration kind of thing?" And then Buck like blushes and then like looks at her and like looks at Jay and is like, "No, I'm pretty happy where I am actually."
Is Mac have a baby now? Is it that far ahead?
I guess yeah. I didn't picture a time frame, so yeah, totally. She could. I feel like this office is like pro baby.
It strikes me as one of the offices where they'd bring in the baby so everyone can fuss over the baby and have an extra excuse for donuts.
Right.
Yeah. So probably see Jay at his desk typing up the report about how they found all of the evidence in Schneider's desk, like he had a planner that said 3 o'clock murdered Joel or something. It's a very open and shut sort of case, and he's got justice and triumph in his eyes and everything as they could call it. They need to go do something, and he grabs his big poofy winter jacket and everything and heads out with oh no, I forget your name, I'm terrible, Buck. Yeah, like just like the last of his coffee on his way out. And just as they get to the car, he's like, "Hey, wait a second," and he goes in to kiss Buck. Like, "Thanks for being there for me. I couldn't have done any of that without you."
I just lost my shit. That is so sweet. Oh, I think Buck, like, if I could respond, like, Buck just like looks very oh yeah, no, he has he does that thing where like you pull back and he looks like real shocked, and then he just like leans in for like a more passionate kiss.
Right. Okay, that's the novel. We had to cut some corners, but we made it through in time.
Thank
you, everybody.
That was very funny. That was wild.
It was very unexpected. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast, and we could chat a little longer if you have some time.
I think Agatha and I have to dip pretty quick, don't we, Agatha?
Yeah, we have a game starting right now that
right.
is facilitated by me.
Oh dear.
Ryan.
Yeah,
But
but thank you
Thank
for
you.
letting